36%. Chapter 181 The mighty Qin Tian threatens the entire Eurasian Federation. I saw Qin Tian leaning against the back of the chair, with his hands on the armrests, his legs crossed, his expression extremely indifferent. Why are you looking at me? Keep attacking. Is it true that these little devils started the war by themselves? Fight if you want to fight, stop if you want to stop. If you say to destroy them all, then no one will be left behind. Clear. Yao Lang's eyes lit up when he heard this. Then he turned his head and continued to control the fire control system. Ha ha ha, Qin Shenyu, should be like this. That's right, it's really a child's play. Fight if you want to fight, stop if you want to stop. Don't scare these little devils, they will never know what kind of opponent they have provoked. God Qin, FK him. Damn, this live broadcast room doesn't even have a tipping function, or else I'd tip all my monthly salary to you. Brothers upstairs, calm down, we need to consume rationally. Ha ha ha, it's really cool to watch these little devils slap their faces. Before, they vowed to kill us God Qin and avenge their Yamato. As a result, 970 inches, half of them beat themselves up. The white flag has surrendered. At the beginning, God Qin said that when we fight frigates and gunboats, we are bullying the big and defeating the small, but in the end, when their cruiser comes, don't they just kneel down in seconds? Give them a chance, and these little devils are useless. In the studio, all the Yanlong people applauded Qin Tian's domineering approach and applauded loudly. And in the battlefield of World of Warships, after seeing them unfurl the flag of surrender, Qin Tianyi was still attacking. Those little devils immediately began to curse. Baga, Qin Tian, you dare to openly violate the internationally recognized surrender contract. You are challenging all countries in the world. Aren't you afraid that your actions will disqualify the Yanlong Empire God chosen from surrendering? That's right, Qin Tian, when the chosen one of your Yanlong Empire was hunted by us and couldn't surrender, you are the sinner of your Yanlong Empire. Qin Tian, we have already recorded all your actions. If you don't stop attacking, we will send it to the World Chat channel, and then you will be left in a bad name forever. Listen to these shameless shouts. Qin Tian is not polite either. Respond directly with a loudspeaker. Shut up for me. A group of guys who are not as good as pigs and dogs, how dare you propose a surrender contract with me? I will make a contract with your whole family. I just want to ask you whether you cared about surrender when you captured the God chosen of our Yanlong Empire and killed them. Contract. How dare you talk about the international surrender agreement? Look at the World Chat channel, you shitty devils from the Eurasian Federation. Are there any of you who are not killing my Yanlong Empire's chosen one? I can't believe they didn't surrender when you caught them, but did you let them go? These few words left the little devils who spoke just now speechless. It was just for fun. Who cares about verbal agreements? No, right, so you surrender now. Why should I stop attacking? You did the first day of the junior high school, why don't you let me do the 5th day? The guns continued to roar. Rockets continued to cover one piece after another of the enemy ship sea area. Only Qin Tian's voice continued to echo in the entire sea area. I'll just put my words here today, including the chosen ones from other countries in the Eurasian Federation. Listen, if there is any country that dares to wantonly kill the chosen ones from our Yanlong Empire, I, Qin Tian, will definitely use a more cruel method than you. 10,000 times the means to retaliate back. Don't doubt my strength. It really annoys me. I will follow up harder than General Leng Lai. Now these little devils are a lesson from the past. If I can kill more than 900 of them, I can kill hundreds or even thousands of you in any country. Human team. When the time comes, I will go near your island. If your chosen ones don't form a team of 1,000 people, they won't be able to leave the island to search for supplies. After Qin Tian finished speaking the words that made the blood of countless Yanlong people boil. The few remaining destroyers of the little devil were also wiped out. Even the strongest cruisers and destroyers were easily taken down. What suspense can there be for the remaining frigates and gunboats? Not long after, just under the guns of the Qin Tian battleship and under the cover of rocket launchers, they were all wiped out. Hundreds of little devils who survived jumping into the sea are still cursing and cursing Qin Tian. But soon a dozen or so sharks swimming over from a distance made them shut up howling. Qin Tian sent the recorded video directly to the World Chat channel. Then speak below. Devils of the Eurasian Federation, I advise you to take a closer look. If anyone tells me on the national channel that you are still wantonly killing the chosen ones of our Yanlong Empire, then don't blame me and go directly to the islands of your country arbitrary. See this message from Qin Tian. Quite a few foreign God-chosen members opened the video curiously and watched it seriously. The result is more and more shocking. After all, the foreign gods have watched Qin Tian effortlessly destroy a fleet of the Sakura Empire with nearly 1,000 people. They couldn't help but all fell silent. Then the video was silently turned off. Ask yourself, if they are allowed to face the fleet of more than 900 battleships led by a cruiser and a dozen destroyers, can they really kill all of them so easily and freely? Unable. Even Phyllis Lot, who led the team of the Lot family this time, couldn't help showing a dignified expression at this moment. What kind of freak is Qin Tian of Yanlong Empire? How long has it been since it was upgraded to a cruiser? At this moment, Phyllis Lot couldn't help feeling a little bit of retreat. But it was quickly suppressed by him. Since 900 people, 1,000 people can't kill him. Then take this opportunity to kill him with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people. What's more, most of the warships that came to their lighthouse this time were all warships built from the enhanced battleship blueprints that were played out from the Forgotten Treasure dungeon some time ago. Even if everything is destroyed, at most, their lighthouse empire lost a large amount of supplies and a large number of NPC sailors. It won't do much damage to them at all. As for the deaths of the chosen ones from other countries in the Eurasian Federation, that has something to do with him. So Phyllis Lot thought about it and directly said at Qin Tian in the World Chat channel. Felix Lauder at Qin Tian. It's fine not to kill the chosen ones of your Yanlong Empire, but you have to obediently go to your 4 islands of Yanlong to fight with us, otherwise I will guarantee that your threat is a big one joke. Qin Tian saw the message sent by Phyllis Lauder. A cold murderous intent appeared in his eyes. This guy is really a big cancer. Take the opportunity this time. If I didn't kill him myself, I would be sorry for the opportunity that came to my door this time. I thought coldly in my heart. Qin Tian spoke calmly in the chat channel. Qin Tian at Fei Li Si Luote. Don't worry, I'm also looking forward to this battle. I don't know how many battlefield titles you can unlock for me. I hope you 4.4 won't give up halfway through the fight and run away. Phyllis Lot at Qin Tian. Then we will wait and see. I want to see if you have 3 heads and 6 arms. Snort. Seeing this, Qin Tian snorted coldly, and didn't pay attention to the World Chat channel anymore. Instead, he turned to the National Chat channel to speak. Next, I will try my best to go to the 4 islands of Beidou. If during this period, I find that any God-chosen person in our country has been killed by people from other countries, you can at Wo, Jagi Yuan, I will make the other party countless God-chosen those who regret coming to this world. The God of Qin is mighty. God Qin is domineering. Qin Shen, do you still lack a maid to warm the bed or a pendant on your leg? I can protect your Kemong, and you are satisfied with the care. For Qin Tian's such a strong and domineering speech, the countless God-chosen members of the Yanlong Empire were immediately excited. Only Qin Tian can survive this war. Then in the future, the chosen one of the Yanlong Empire might really stand up again. 36%. Chapter 182. The future female general of Chengxi is brought forward. And Qin Tian didn't pay much attention to these boring remarks. The entire chat channel was immediately closed. Okay, Chen, let's go to this coordinate point with all our strength, and don't worry about anything else. As he spoke, Qin Tian told Wei Chen the coordinates of Tianshu Island that Zhang Zongjun had sent him. Okay, Captain. Wei Chen took the order and started to navigate. Dee. And at this moment, but Qin Tian's mind suddenly sounded a private chat prompt. He thought it was Zhang Zongjun or Leng Lai. When I opened it, it turned out to be Nangong Le. Wow, boss, you are too strong. You beat 1,000 little devils with one blow, and you won easily. See the message sent by the other party. Qin Tian smiled and replied. What, do you still want me to be surrounded and beaten by 1,000 people? Nangong happily responded to the message in seconds. How is it possible, boss? Don't wrong the good guy. I'm also rushing to Tianshu Island now, and I'm almost there. See this message. Qin Tian frowned immediately. Nonsense. What are you doing on Tianshu Island? This woman is his most promising investment target in World of Warships. If it dies here, then his loss will be great. Of course I'm here to help you. The 06-side Nangong replied as a matter of course. Sky, he's tempted to say, your current talent level doesn't help at all. But afraid of hitting the other party's self-confidence, he didn't say it. However, Nangong Le sent him a message at this time. Boss, I have some good news for you. Yesterday I opened a colorful and glossy Genesis level treasure chest, and there was nothing in it, just a skill upgrade coupon. After using it, my talent skill was upgraded to an SSS level, full army escort, and my current battleship is a small destroyer. I want to see how those foreign devils bully us this time. 1. Look at this message. Qin Tian's whole body was completely messed up in the wind. WTF. This guy has made skill upgrade coupon. And then directly upgraded the talent skill to SSS level all army escort. It has only been more than 2 months since I entered World of Warships. So the time for this girl's rise has been brought forward by nearly a year. Qin Tian was so shocked that he didn't know what to say. So, this Nangongle is typical of the lucky son of this World of Warships. Heroine template. Otherwise, how to explain this girl's good luck? But shock is shock. But Qin Tian was very happy, to be honest, in his heart. Because the sooner it rises, the more securely it can grow. Maybe in the future when facing the invasion of the Zarer people. It can also help him a lot. And in the live broadcast room, all the viewers who saw these conversations were already stunned. What? SSS level talent? Damn, our Yanlong Empire has another dragon. Dragon? What dragon? She is a woman, so she should be called Phoenix. Nice, it's too good, so in our empire, things must be turned against each other. Is it true? This is what I said, there is nothing wrong with it. After Qin Tian knew that Nangong Li's talent had been upgraded to SSS level, he stopped persuading him. With the escort of the morning lady, who awakened in advance. So their war this time is not a sure thing. At least the Yanlong Empire can save more than half of its people from dying this time. Okay, since your talent has been upgraded to SSS level, and the battleship has become a destroyer, then you come here, just kill more enemy ships, and unlock a few more battlefield titles. Qin Tian sent a message to Nangongla and said, haha, okay, I want to eat the barbecue you made, big brother. I've been thinking about it for a month, but I'm so hungry. Qin Tian, okay, we'll see you later. Qin Tian shook his head and closed the chat interface. To be honest, with the assistance of Nangongla. At this moment, he couldn't wait to have a fight with the devils of the Eurasian Federation. When the time comes, the momentum of the Yanlong Navy will be brought out. After a while, go directly to kill the little devil. Take back Yuang Island. You must know that every extra island in your hand is an opportunity to bring something to the world once a month. And some crops can be grown on the island. Far more convenient than on a battleship. After seeing nothing else, Qin Tian asked Yao Lang and the others to pay attention to the movements around them. Be careful not to crash into the encirclement of the Eurasian Federation fleet. Although after actual combat, it proves that his current strength is completely capable of crushing a fleet of thousands of people. But what about a fleet of 2,000 or even 3,000? It is estimated that there is a high probability that it cannot be beaten. Yes, Captain, we must pay attention. Hear Qin Tian's exhortation. Yao Ming and the others responded quickly. Qin Tian nodded. Then he walked out of the control room. Come to the deck. See the top of the deck at this time. It is densely packed with two kinds of materials, wood and metal sheets. Perhaps it is in consideration of the need to repair warships and replenish ammunition in large-scale naval battles. The chosen warships that the opponent went to participate in the battle this time actually carried a large amount of two kinds of materials, wood and metal pieces. Qin Tian opened the data backpack and took a look at his harvest this time. Low-quality wood, 270,021. Almost 100,000 units of loot were seized. Common wood, 37,339. About 30,000 units were seized. Even high-quality wood has changed from more than 8,600 to more than 20,000. More than 13,000 units have been harvested. Then he looked at the sheet metal again. Inferior metal sheet, 187,752. When you see a number of more than 187,000. Qin Tian was really surprised. He remembers it well. At that time, in order to facilitate the replenishment of warship weapons, after he synthesized all inferior metal pieces into high-quality metal pieces, there are only a few hundred units left. But now it has become a full 180,000 units. Obviously this wave of harvest is huge. Then he looked down. Ordinary metal sheets have changed from more than 3,200 to more than 68,000. The high-quality metal pieces have changed from more than 19,000 to more than 46,000. In short, the two naval battles were over. His originally somewhat depleted resources of sheet metal have recovered a wave of blood. Be in a good mood. Qin Tian immediately began to synthesize on the Armor 337 board. When he synthesized more than 187,000 low-quality metal pieces into more than 46,000 high-quality metal pieces. It was getting dark. Ma Yongganian also ran up and called a few people to go down for dinner. In the current situation where the sea is almost full of enemies, Qin Tian was also worried about leaving only one person in the control room like before. He simply put 2 people on duty. Go down to eat alone. Take turns like this. Neither delay eating. Security is also guaranteed. In World of Warships, there is always nothing wrong with being careful. After wolfing down the meal, Qin Tian also quickly got into the various ammunition compartments and began to replenish ammunition. Because even he wasn't sure. In the next few days, will he have another naval battle with those devils from the Eurasian Federation for some reason? In this way, the sun rises and the moon sets, and the stars move. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. All went well for 2 days. Even though I encountered the fleet of the Eurasian Federation several times on the way. But because of the advantage of radar detection distance, Qin Tian's warships also avoided each other in advance. Saved a lot of trouble. Wait until tomorrow. They will be able to reach their destination this time, Tianshu Island. But on this breezy afternoon, Yao Lang, Wei Chen and Ma Fei chatted and spanked in the control room after dinner. Qin Tian pushed open the door of the control room. Then he walked in with a very eager look. Chen, hurry up and locate the location of 4X, and rush there as quickly as possible, hurry up. 36%. Chapter 183 Unique Sailor, Ace Mechanic. Oh, yes, Captain. It was the first time seeing Qin Tian so anxious. Wei Chen didn't dare to dawdle. A quick one-pass operation with both hands. After setting the position, immediately turn around and start to drive towards the positioned area with full horsepower. Captain, the target is 27 nautical miles away from us, and we can reach it in less than an hour. Wei Chen said to Qin Tian after confirming. Qin Tian nodded. When you arrive at the destination, you 3, keep your eyes open for me. There is a shipwrecked sailor there. When you find it, go over and take him to our battleship immediately. Finished. Qin Tian left the control room. It was only then that Yao Lang and the others suddenly understood. I just said why the captain is so anxious. It turns out that the sailors were detected. Yao Lang stood in front of the central control radar screen, looked around carefully and said, the battle is imminent now. The captain must strengthen our strength if he can strengthen us. Wei Chen controlled the course and said, I feel that the captain's cruiser is already very powerful, and it is estimated that it can easily win against the battleship. Ma Fei also interjected beside him. Yao Lang and Wei Chen exchanged glances. Then he smiled and said, I don't know you came late, but our captain actually sank a battleship 3 or 4 weeks ago. Ah, so powerful. Tell me quickly, what's going on? The 3 people in the control room here began to chat about the legendary story of destroyers sinking battleships. On the other hand, Qin Tian came directly to the bow of the ship. Mind stared closely at the image of the red villain with a word on the flat map. Rui. This is the font on the head of the figure. Qin Tian didn't know what the word Rui represented. Is the name, or a title, but there is one thing that Qin Tian can be 100% sure of. This shipwrecked seaman must be more advanced than Yao Lang and the others who are A-level and B-level seamen. Whether it's the red silhouette image or the word Rui on the top of the head. They all look so different. That's why Qin Tian was in such a hurry. These 2 days are getting closer to Tianshu Island. He found that the fleets of the Eurasian Federation, large and small, appeared more frequently. In case of delay was rescued by the people of the Eurasian Federation. Wouldn't he just miss out on this unique and special seaman? As time passed by every minute and every second. In Qin Tian's expectation, the figure of the battleship and the shipwrecked sailor gradually overlapped. Here, help. And at this moment, a voice that was a little tired and full of reluctance suddenly sounded. Qin Tian immediately looked for the reputation. See you in the direction of 11 o'clock ahead. A middle-aged man in his early 30s was showing his head, and waved his hand perfunctorily at him. See the attitude of the other party. Qin Tian really didn't understand. What's with this special cat's attitude of being extremely reluctant to be rescued? And Qin Tian didn't need to say much at all. The 3 in the control room had apparently spotted each other as well. I saw that the warship adjusted its direction slightly. Then slowly slowed down and sailed to the side of the man. Yu Dai and Ma Yongganian also rushed over at this time. Yu Dai grabbed the rope and threw it in front of the man with incomparable precision. And shouted, "Bind to yourself." The man lazily followed suit. After that, Yu Dai and Ma Yongganian dragged the man up. Phew, thank you. The man lay wet on the deck. He thanked the three people in front of him. Don't thank us, our captain found out that you are in trouble here. If you want to thank you, thank our captain. Yu Dai pulled Ma Yongganian back a step with sharp eyesight, letting out Qin Tian in the middle. The man stood up from the deck with his tired body. He looked at the handsome Qin Tian in front of him. There was a hint of surprise in his eyes. This is too young. Dear Captain, hello, my name is Rui, I am an ace mechanic, thank you for saving me. Ace mechanic, however, after hearing this title, Yu Hai and Ma Yongganian both showed expressions of admiration and respect. Question mark question mark question mark. Qin Tian turned his head and glanced at his two subordinates in a strange way. What is an ace mechanic? Sounds like a great deal. To be honest, it was the first time he had heard of this title. It seems to have seen his doubts. Yu Dai hurriedly said close to Qin Tian's ear, Captain, mechanic is the honorific title for the pilot of the Chengxing Empire. They have extremely superb flying skills. Whether it is flying an aircraft or driving a mecha, he has the operation skills of one enemy against 100. And the ace mechanic is one of the best. The reason why the Chengxing Empire was able to repel the three major cosmic civilizations that raided the Blue Star in the last era, these mechanics can be said to be indispensable. Quote. Hear, hear. Qin Tian was stunned. Immediately, the two eyes were fixed on Rui's face. Since he can drive aircraft and mechs, then there must be no problem flying a fighter jet, right? And the other party obviously heard Yu Dai's words. Looking at Qin Tian with a lonely expression, he said, what's the use of defeating the fleets of those three cosmic civilizations? In the end, wouldn't my ancestors and even the entire Chengxing Empire be destroyed by that more powerful cosmic civilization? Hear this. Qin Tian was stunned for a moment. Then he shook his head, looked at the other party and said, you can't say that. The law of nature that pervades the entire universe is the law of the jungle that preys on the strong and plunders and absorbs. Not to mention as intelligent life forms, even galaxies in the universe often collide with each other, and galaxies with larger masses directly forcibly plunder and absorb weaker galaxies. Not to mention as human beings, capital is crazily squeezed, and the bottom is desperately exploited, but will life stop there? Don't you still have to grit your teeth and continue living day by day? In the universe, there are many civilizations that are more advanced than us. Is it because of this that we are not alive? Find a rope and hang yourself all. Qin Tian looked at the other party and said, I also have a little understanding of the affairs of the first era in this world, and the will of the planet has revealed some to me. Speaking of which, the people of our era are still your descendants, because we are your fire seed. Even the stalwart life forms of the will of the planet, which have been hundreds of billions of years, have never given up on us humans. Why, as a human being, you can't stand it first and want to give up? After listening to Zhao's Qin Tian's words, Rui shook his head helplessly and said, it's different, you haven't experienced the feeling of powerlessness that you can't withstand the opponent's 10 blows no matter how you attack or defend. Qin Tian nodded. He also knows the truth of not persuading others to be kind without others suffering. So I spread my hands, and said directly, but you are still not dead, and you even asked for help just now. Although this may not be your original intention, it also means that you can't seek death from the side, right? Rui looked at Qin Tian and said helplessly, you were right, it was the will of the planet that revived me, although I don't know if I am dead or alive now, or a bunch of poor data that was just cloned, but my mind can still think normally, but there is an order in my subconscious that has been refusing me to seek death. Qin Tian clapped his hands, spread them out, and said, look, I knew that you couldn't die anyway, you're alive instead of living full of despair and decadence, and living full of hope and novelty is also alive, why don't you how about trying to accept the second way of living? 36%. Chapter 184 S's class sailors arrive at Tianshu Island. Listen to Qin Tian's suggestion. Rui was a little dumbfounded. I know what you mean, but there is some truth to what you said. Anyway, you're going to be on someone's boat, and it's good to meet such an interesting little guy like you. Then, please take me in, Captain, let me see what hope and novelty you can bring me. Quote. With Rui's voice down, Qin Tian also received a notification from the will of the planet. Rui SS level requests to join, do you agree? See this SS grade. Qin Tian suppressed his heart and chose, agree, with ecstasy. SS class. This is actually a crew member with SS rank talent. Qin Tian never expected that this ace mechanic's talent potential would be so high. With a thought, he opened the opponent's attribute panel. Name, Rui. Specialty, driving. Talent, SS level. Talent skill, super driving. SS level. Driving. Any combat unit can stimulate its own potential. During the battle, the attack is increased by 200%, the agility is increased by 200%, and the chance of inspiration is increased by 50%. Characteristics. When entering the battle state, increase the damage bonus of the battleship on duty by 10%, and restore 10% of the blood volume of the battleship on duty every 30 seconds. Loyalty. 70093 Introduction. The eldest grandson of the family of the 12 aristocratic family of the Chengxing Empire, with noble status and extraordinary talent, he accepted the examination to become a mechanic at the age of 11. Fighting with the fleets of Ryan's 3 major cosmic civilizations, he was promoted to ace mechanic at the age of 18, killed countless enemies, and made great achievements in battle. At the age of 32, he died in the invasion of the twin Sauron civilization. Hiss. Look at Ray's properties panel. Qin Tian couldn't help taking a deep breath of cool air. As expected, he is the top crew member of the SS class. This talent skill is really top. Not to mention the SS level, super driving, skill. It's just the characteristic ability that blesses the battleship during battle. Increase the damage bonus of the battleship on duty by 10% and recover 10% of the blood volume of the battleship on duty every 30 seconds. These 2 ability bonuses are extremely useful. Okay, since you've joined my battleship, I'm not bragging about it. In the future, you will definitely find a goal to fight for and live hard. What you need now is to take a shower. Then change into dry clothes and go to eat. Quote. Qin Tian finished speaking to Rui. So he arranged these things for Yu Dai and Ma Yongganian to handle. And he took Rui to his own rest cabin. He took out a set of unopened military uniforms and handed them to the latter. Night. Yu Hai listened, God, to Qin Tian's order. We had a sumptuous barbecue moss dragon meat feast, which was a welcome feast for this super seaman. None of the other sailors expressed dissatisfaction with this joke. This is the top nobleman of the Chengxing Empire. Moreover, he is also an incomparably noble ace mechanic of the empire. To be able to sit and eat at the same table with them. This is already a great honor for them. And after tasting the mosasa grilled by Yu Hai on the grill. Rao is Rui, who was used to delicacies from mountains and seas in the last era. After this moment, I couldn't help but eat a few more pieces. As a result, the end result is to eat together with everyone. Then a group of people ran to the deck, talking and laughing, strolling to digest food. Nothing to say all night. The next morning, Qin Tian received a message from Nangang La. Said that she had arrived at Tianshu Island. And Qin Tian arrived after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. As soon as he arrived at the sea area of more than 30 kilometers outside Tianshu Island, he was discovered by a patrolling naval team. Battleship ahead, please reveal your identity, otherwise we will regard you as an intruder and attack you. Hear the call of the other party. Qin Tian said his name immediately. And let the other party verify their identity. After learning that he is really Qin Tian, the navy of the patrol team immediately became very enthusiastic. If it weren't for the duty of patrolling, I'm afraid it's not necessary to escort him all the way back to the island. After Qin Tian passed by the enthusiastic cheers of more than a dozen patrol teams outside, he finally came to a place about 10 kilometers away from the island. Hee, I can't tell, you are quite popular. In the control room, standing beside Qin Tian, Rui looked at him in surprise and said, Hee, it's okay, the main reason is that it sank a battleship of our country's enemy some time ago, which can be regarded as an insult to many citizens. Qin Tian said with a smile. Rui Wenyan nodded suddenly. He who has been on the battlefield all year round naturally knows. This kind of behavior is indeed very easy to establish the image of a national hero. My enemy's enemy, my hero. That's what it says. Captain, there is a situation ahead. And at this moment, Yao Ming said suddenly. Then an enlarged image appeared on the big screen. I saw a battleship with many gun barrels waiting quietly in front of it. Qin Tian's heart warmed up. Unexpectedly, Zhang Zongjun came to pick him up in person. Go up, Qin Tian spoke. And as he appeared, Zhang Zongjun quickly used a loudspeaker to make a sound. Your boy is here, how is the road going? It's going well, isn't it? Qin Tian smiled and replied through the loudspeaker. It's okay, there is no danger, nothing serious. Okay, I've already prepared a reception banquet on the island, let's talk about it later when we have something to say. Following Zhang Zongjun's battleship turned around and led the way. Qin Tian's cruiser quickly arrived at the harbor of the island unimpeded. I saw that Tianshu Island in front of me was about the size of a dozen football fields. Dozens of hundreds of harbors are built around the entire island. Not to mention that it is full of warships. Qin Tian also saw innumerable battleships moored in array on the sea surface in the distance. These warships were all shrouded in faintly visible golden light. There are countless small wooden boats shuttling back and forth between the battleships and the islands. A bustling scene. Park the cruiser. Qin Tian led everyone off the battleship. Then there was a thought. The entire cruiser is just like any other battleship around it. It was shrouded by a looming pale golden light. This is an invincible privilege granted by the will of the planet to the chosen ones around the island. Park warships on the islands of your own country. Not only can the battleship be locked to prevent outsiders from going up. Moreover, the entire island does not support the use of force against each other in a non-war state. Get this done. Qin Tian and the others walked across the wooden bridge. Came to the land of the island. Spent more than 2 months on the deck of a battleship. This suddenly stepped on the ground. It really has a down-to-earth feel. No wonder every country wants to occupy several islands as their own bases. After a long time at sea, it is indeed a good way to relax on the island for a few days occasionally. Wow, boss, we meet again. And at this moment, several people stepped down from Zhang Zongjun's battleship one after another. One of them was Zhang Zongjun himself, a middle-aged man with a straight figure, a tough face, and a formal military uniform. Behind him followed several naval officers who were not low in rank at first glance. As for the one who called him, it was the only woman inside. Qin Tian took a careful look at the face under the big cap of the other party. Only then did I realize that this girl is actually Nangongla. Hehe, this is joining our great flame dragon's navy. I almost didn't recognize him wearing such a suit. Qin Tian said with a smile towards the other party. 37%. Chapter 185 Vegetable Greenhouse Drawings, Discuss Strategies. Hear Qin Tian's words. Nangongla walked over quickly and said with a smile. Boss, I have to thank you. If you hadn't recommended me to General Zhang, I wouldn't have grown up so fast. Haha, I really have to thank you, kid. If you didn't recommend Nangong girl to me, it is really impossible for our Yanlong Navy to have such a talented genius. Zhang Zongjun also came over at this time and spoke. With a resolute face full of kindness, he shook hands with Qin Tian. Qin Tian felt relieved when he heard this. Look. With foresight, just do a simple operation here. In the last life, things happened naturally. All the credit for this life is on his head. At that time, I want to do something in the future. Nangongla and Zhang Zongjun are embarrassed to refuse. And Zhang Zongjun didn't know these small things in Qin Tian's heart at the moment. While shaking hands with him, he patted his shoulder and said with a smile, I can see that our empire has you outstanding young people growing up, and I feel more at ease in my heart. Let's go. Go to my place first. It's time for dinner soon. Let's fill up our stomach first. Quote. So a group of people talked and laughed together and walked to the military barracks not far from the island. Zhang Zongjun's residence is not in the center of the island. Instead, it was in a camp a few miles from the port. Use his words. The enemy's battleship really wants to break through its own fleet and fight to the front of the island. It doesn't matter where you live. 20 or 30 kilometers of naval guns plus missiles with a range of 40 kilometers. You have nowhere to hide. So instead of spending so much trouble, wasting time on the road all day long, it's better to build the base near one of the ports. In this way, it is very convenient to dispatch the army and leave the port for support. A group of people walked talking and laughing. The passing soldiers raised their hands and saluted Zhang Zongjun when they saw Zhang Zongjun. Immediately afterwards, they will also turn towards Qin Tian. The admiring gaze and the reverence directly killed Qin Tian. Good guy, so I already have such a great reputation in the army. Really, this kind of war world. If you want to gain the reputation of the Imperial Army, you have to fight devils. The harder you hit, your prestige in the military department will be higher. He just sank the Yamato. If this brings tens of thousands of Yanlong Navy to drive the little devil out of Yuong Island, it will directly recover Yuong Island. How about yourself then? Ha Haha, you boy is now a great hero in the hearts of hundreds of thousands of Yanlong Navy, and you used a destroyer to sink the Yamato, and I don't know how many eyeballs were shocked at that time. How about it? Would you like to consider coming here to lead a navy as your actual rear admiral? Don't. I'm a cruiser now. How can I get a battleship? Qin Tian hurriedly shook his head and waved his hands when he heard Zhang Zongjun's words. How can there be freedom to play treasures to earn resources on the island? Follow Zhang Zongjun along the smooth road. The group soon came to a large area of exquisite wooden houses or stone houses. Qin Tian, who had been watching the space-time live broadcast before, naturally knew the origin of these buildings. Open treasure chests near the island. Especially high-quality chests. There is a high probability that architectural blueprints such as wooden houses and stone houses can be produced. Some foreign devils have even offered such good things as single-family villas. So on the island, there is no need to worry about not having a house to live in. Just be willing to work hard. Walk around the island more often. Then opening a treasure chest has a high probability of opening a blueprint of a wooden house. The house Zhang Zongjun lives in is a stone house. Push open the door and greet a few people to come in. Qin Tian discovered that this was still a courtyard house. After entering the upper room, several people talked for a while. It didn't take long for the chef to start dish by dish. Grilled fish. These people have long been tired of eating, and there is nothing to worry about. What is delicious is the food served in the back. Stir-fried pork with potato chips, fried pork with beans, fried pork with green peppers, fish-flavored shredded pork, scrambled eggs with tomato, stir-fried squid, potato stew, and the hard dish that comes later, barbecue mosasaur meat. And of course that big pot full of white rice. This meal made everyone happy. Zhang Zongjun looked at the faces of several people who were devouring. He said to Qin Tian with some guilt, "You boy have been messing around for a long time, so there is no greenhouse for growing vegetables on the battleship." Hearing this, Qin Tian swallowed the rice in his mouth and said, "No, I just opened a large-scale planting ecological cabin blueprint, and I directly made it out to plant rice, and it will be harvested in about a month. It's easy to have rice. I mainly have too many mouths to manage here. Seeing that you live so chicly every day, you don't have to worry about food or drink. I thought you had everything on your battleship. Zero seeking flowers." Zhang Zongjun shook his head upon hearing this. As he spoke, he got up and rummaged through a desk drawer. Then a drawing was pulled out. Take it over and put it in front of Qin Tian, and said, "Here, I'll ask the back kitchen to get you some vegetable seeds when the time comes, you try to grow them, and by the way, you can find someone who knows agriculture, and I'll find someone to make up for it knowledge of this." Qin Tian picked up the blueprint and glanced at it. Large vegetable greenhouse drawing. Qin Tian checked the grade again. Ordinary green quality. Qin Tian didn't care much about this. Anyway, it's in my hands. Use detective technique to consume materials to advance. At least it's legendary. General Zhang, thank you so much. This blueprint is exactly what I need urgently. 0. Qin Tian is also not polite. After saying thank you, he put away the drawings in a very awkward manner. Then he looked at Yu Hai not far away and said, "Old Yu, can you plant those vegetable seeds?" Yu Dai stopped picking up vegetables. He said very seriously, "As long as there is land and land, I can grow any vegetables for you." Hear this sentence. Qin Tian said to Zhang Zongjun, "The first group of people I rescued were farmers before they became sailors." Zhang Zongjun smiled and said, "Your luck is quite good, so I don't need to find those experts for you, and let the kitchen give you some seeds." A meal lasted until 10 o'clock in the evening. Until the live broadcast room is closed. Only then did Zhang Zongjun ask people to clean up the bowls and chopsticks. He started to discuss serious matters with Qin Tian and Nangong La. "Xiao Qin, girl La, I want to hear how you two define yourself in this war." Zhang Zongjun asked. Because of what Qin Tian did to kill more than 1,000 God chosen from the Eurasian Federation by himself 2 days ago. Zhang Zongjun could already predict that this incident would inevitably start a war. Because Qin Tian is too evil. If you let him continue to grow like this. Once on the battleship, I'm afraid that 2 or 3,000 gods chosen may not be able to please him well. As for the top battleship powerhouses of these countries, I'm afraid he won't be Qin Tian's opponent in a one-on-one situation. So Phyllis Lott and Reese Duke definitely won't let Qin Tian continue to grow. 37%. Chapter 186. The strongest shield and the strongest spear. Zhang Zongjun saw it clearly. For the capitalist families like Lot and Dooku put their own interests first. As long as the situation is not the worst, they will never give up the sanctions against Yanlong Empire easily. Because there is no first in literature, and there is no second in martial arts. As for what ordinary people in the Lighthouse Empire said, it will not affect the decision-making of the Lighthouse G side at all. Only these capitalist families let go of the restrictions and are willing to join forces with the Yanlong Empire. Then the G side of the Lighthouse Empire will integrate the power of the Eurasian Federation. Send troops to help the Yanlong Empire lift the siege of aliens. But until then, the Beacon Empire will definitely make a lot of unreasonable demands on the Yanlong Empire. To weaken the Yanlong Empire's strength to the greatest extent. In order to ensure the absolute dominance of their great lighthouse. For those capitalist families, even if hundreds of millions or billions of people died in Yanlong Empire, or even in the whole world, how could they hate FE? As long as they are the winners in the end. Because with the strength of their chosen ones in World of Warships, they are getting stronger and stronger. It is indeed not as difficult to deal with those alien civilizations now. And this also gave them enough confidence. A disobedient Yanlong Empire. Nothing is better. It is precisely this point. That's why Zhang Zongjun felt for Alexander. Once this war starts, then Yanlong really can't afford to lose. And want to increase Yanlong Empire's chances of winning in this battle. Qin Tian and Nangongla, these two talented monsters are the most important. Facing Zhang Zongjun's inquiry, Nangong happily replied, my talent is escort of the whole army, that is, on the battlefield where I am, I can provide continuous escort for all warships of our forces for an hour. During this hour, our side the fleet can gain 50% defense increase, 20% dodge increase, and restore 30% of my total life to the whole army every 10 seconds. Hiss. Listen to Nangong Li's explanation. Both Zhang Zongjun and Qin Tian involuntarily gasped. This skill is really against the sky. Provides 50% defense, 20% dodge to the entire army of warships, and restores 30% of her total life to the entire army every 10 seconds. This is definitely a god-level nurse. Zhang Zongjun quickly grasped the key to the core inside. Ask directly. Then Le girl, what is your total blood volume now? Nangong said happily, 9,800. Qin Tian and Zhang Zongjun couldn't help frowning when they heard this blood volume. If you look at it from a normal perspective, Nangongla has the health of a large destroyer when he is a small destroyer. This degree of evolution is definitely stronger than 95% of the chosen ones. But this blood volume is matched with her talent. That's really a little low. Calculated by recovering 30% of the 9,800 blood volume every 10 seconds. That is more than 2,900. If the scale of the war is small, 10 seconds to restore so much blood is almost the same. But this is a large-scale naval battle involving tens of thousands or even more than 100,000 warships. Frigates and destroyers are the real backbone. So here it is. At least half of their blood volume must be filled at one time to ensure their survival to the maximum extent. Zhang Zongjun thought for a while and said directly, you two will get up at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, and follow me to the battleship to get the blueprints. I think a mythic level deck blueprint, a mythical level ship's figure blueprint, and a mythical level bridge blueprint should be enough. Give you 7 or 8,000 blood, and it will be almost enough by then. The corners of Qin Tian's mouth twitched uncontrollably when he heard this. Good guy. This guy is really ready to spend a lot of money. 3 mythical level enhanced blueprints. He was a little moved when he heard it. But compared to him, Nangongla is the one who needs these 3 blueprints the most. Because this skill is completely magical. Well done. The winning rate of this war can be increased by at least 20%. If the amount of blood returned is raised again, the winning rate can be increased by another 5%. Finished Nangong Li's skills. Zhang Zongjun and Nangongla looked at Qin Tian in unison. After thinking for a while, Qin Tian said, I don't have any talents that can affect the entire army. The only thing I can use is a strong attack power. At that time, you can locate the opponent's battleship for me, as long as the opponent's blood volume is not enough. More than 40,000, I'm confident I can get them done in 2 minutes. Actually works well. Full fire. Qin Tian is fully confident that he can deal with a battleship in a matter of minutes. But at that time, after all, it will be a large-scale battlefield with a scale of tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands. Who knows what accidents might happen. So Qin Tian didn't dare to say too much. But Rao is like this. It also scared the two of them enough. Hiss. Zhang Zongjun and Nangong couldn't help but gasp together. Battleship is a typical synonym for high attack and thick blood. Now it is said by Qin Tian. Why does it feel like an ordinary frigate? If you want to handle it, you can handle it. At this moment, Zhang Zongjun couldn't help feeling a little, I'm old and I can't use it. These two young people are really too perverted. It can be called the strongest shield and the strongest spear in the real version. Nangongle's whole army is perverted enough to increase defense, increase dodge, and increase blood recovery. Qin Tian is fine, more tempered. Battleships with less than 40,000 HP will be resolved in about 2 minutes. Doesn't that mean that this kid's round of attack must be at least more than 8,000? The damage of more than 8,000 was weakened by the defensive armor of the opponent's battleship. A wave of more than 5,000 blood. 4 waves of almost 20,000 blood in 1 minute. About 40,000 in 2 minutes is exactly resolved. You must know that his current battleship Xinglong only has damage of about 9,000. He really couldn't imagine what it would be like to have Nangongle and Qin Tian in a battle at the same time. But he was lucky. You will soon experience this beautiful feeling. Zhang Zongjun at this moment. He even looked forward to the upcoming battle with the devils of the Eurasian Federation. Now that I know the strengths of Nangongle and Qin Tian, then Zhang Zongjun will customize the combat deployment next. But it's getting late now. Zhang Zongjun directly cleaned up the other 3 rooms and asked several people to stay with him at night. Qin Tian also has no objection. Nothing to say all night. Several people were called up by Zhang Zongjun before 6 o'clock the next day. It took more than 10 minutes to eat a hearty breakfast. Immediately Zhang Zongjun took a few people to his battleship on 5.1. Qin Tian touched the 406mm super large triple-mounted naval gun. The face is full of obsession. This is the real giant ship cannon. No need to be high. It only needs to strengthen a mythical triple-mounted 406mm naval gun. Just hit a wave. That's an absolute hit. It is estimated that at least more than 2,000 blood can be shot. At this moment, Qin Tian couldn't help thinking of his innate talent. I don't know if my talent can be used on the battleship. The attack speed of battleship guns is inherently slow. Often 1 or 2 rounds of shelling can be fired in a minute. And almost 6 or 7 out of 10 rounds will miss. If you can use it on a battleship, directly let the naval guns of the entire battleship fire the last round of must-hit 3 bursts. I knock. Qin Tian couldn't imagine that scene. Even thinking about it, he couldn't control his prehistoric power. 37%. Chapter 187. The situation is about to rise, and the outcome is unknown. The more he thought about it, the more excited Qin Tian became. At that time, let alone a battleship with 40,000 to 50,000 blood. Even an aircraft carrier with 70,000 to 80,000 blood can probably be beaten into residual blood by him with 3 consecutive shots. No, you must try this experiment when you go back. Let's see if must-hit can be attached to the battleship. At this time, Zhang Zongjun also came out from the side door of the shipbuilding with 3 blueprints in his hand. He said to several people, let's go to La Girl first, and see how much blood can be increased by these 3 blueprints. Qin Tian nodded. Then a group of people strode to Nangong Li's small destroyer. Once on the battleship, I saw several female NPC crew members coming out with smiles like flowers. Qin Tian didn't pay attention to these. Instead, he carefully looked at Nangongle's battleship. It can be seen that this girl's battleship is a bit different. The entire battleship has only 2 naval guns. But Qin Tian saw a total of 6 or 7 rocket launchers and missile vertical launchers. Look at this. This girl is planning to take the route of guided missile destroyers and guided missile cruisers. If to others, installing so many rocket launchers and missiles is simply courting death. Because Qin Tian can be sure that what they install is all low-quality weapons. But put it on Nangongle, whose luck is max. Qin Tian did not dare to jump to conclusions. He used his divine detective technique to see the quality of some of the weapons. Quadruple Sunfire Supersonic Cruise Missile Launcher purple. Triple-mounted Falcon 201 missile launcher purple. Yanqi 078 ship-to-air missiles purple. 4 quadruple Y801 ship-to-ship missiles orange. Cough cough. See these missile qualities. Qin Tian no longer needed to look behind. Probably either purple or orange. This girl's luck is indeed a bit against the sky. It's not bad for others to shoot a blue quality. As a result, it was either purple or orange to her. This luck made Qin Tian a little envious. Zhang Zongjun handed the blueprint to Nangongle. Nangongla took it and didn't waste time. She knew why Zhang Zongjun chose such an early time for her to strengthen. Just to avoid the time and space live broadcast. In order not to be found out about her situation by those foreign devils. So under the watchful eyes of a dozen people, Nangongla used all three drawings one after another without any pause. After use, Zhang Zongjun immediately asked, "How is it? Le girl, how much blood did you add?" Nangongla summoned the attribute panel of his battleship and glanced at it. A pleasantly surprised smile appeared on his face, and he said to everyone, 18,006, with 8,008 blood added. Hear the number. Qin Tian immediately calculated silently in his heart. How much blood is 30% of 18,006? The final result is 5,508. This made Qin Tian's eyes involuntarily light up. This amount of blood is fine. Sure enough, after Zhang Zongjun finished his mental calculations, he nodded in satisfaction and said, "That's about it. Well, I have to go back to deal with official business. Do you think you should go back to the boat or continue to wander around the island? Anyway, my suggestion is you'd better not go out to sea for the last 2 days." Finished. Zhang Zongjun greeted the two of them and left. See Zhang Zongjun leave. Nangongla immediately looked at Qin Tian and asked, "Boss, do you want to go back to the boat?" Qin Tian glanced at the several crew members behind him. After seeing that all the crew members, including Rui, looked like they didn't want to go back, I had no choice but to shake my head at her, and said, "I didn't wander around the island much yesterday, let's go around the island first today." "That's fine, let's go together." So the two wandered around the island with their respective crew members for most of the day. The sun rises and the moon sets, and the stars move. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. It was past 10 o'clock this morning. Qin Tian is in the warehouse. Curry is synthesizing low-quality metal pieces. Suddenly, a loud siren sounded in the sky above Tianshu Island. Qin Tian immediately put down what he was doing when he heard the sound. Quickly came to the deck from the warehouse. At this moment, the countless Yanlong Navy all brought their crews on their warships. Either row a small boat, or take a boat to those warships that are arrayed in the distance one after another. Qin Tian looked at Tianshu Island, which was completely busy for a while. In my heart, I secretly said, "Coming. Dee. And at this moment, suddenly, a private message notification sounded in his mind. He opened it to have a look. I saw it was from Zhang Zongjun. "Xiao Qin, get ready, the enemy is coming. See this message." Qin Tian immediately walked to the control room of the shipbuilding. One in, Yao Lang, Ma Fei and Wei Chen were all ready to fight. Even Rui was already standing like a statue next to the bridge seat. "Aaron, report the situation." Qin Tian asked for information while walking towards the chairs on the bridge. "Captain, the radar shows that there are a large number of warships at a distance of 130 kilometers from 9 to 3 o'clock, and it can be confirmed that they are the fleet of the Eurasian Federation." Yao Lang said excitedly, "Captain, it's Zhang Zongjun." And at this moment, Rui next to him also spoke. Qin Tian looked up. From the front window, Zhang Zongjun quickly boarded his battleship with a group of officers. Dee. Then Qin Tian received a private message from the other party. "Xiao Qin, you and Gerla will be on my left and right sides in a while, and I will ask someone to help you locate the opponent's battleship." "See here." Qin Tian immediately replied, "No problem." Then let Wei Chen control the battleship. He followed Zhang Zongjun and left the harbor. And behind his battleship, Nangongle's destroyer also followed closely behind to the other side of Zhang Zongjun's battleship. As time goes by, I saw countless battleships around them constantly surpassing their battleships. Head towards the periphery of the island. Each of their battleships exudes an aura of resignation to death and an indomitable momentum. The 600 made Qin Tian feel a little silent. After this battle, I don't know how many unknown heroes will be buried in the sea of this different world. Dee. And at this moment, Zhang Zongjun sent him another message. "Xiao Qin, you and Gerla will keep up with me for a while, and don't lose track of me." Qin Tian replied with a "Don't worry." Let Wei Chen follow Zhang Zongjun's battleship. About an hour or so passed. The tens of thousands of battleships in the Yanlong Navy are based on more than 20 phalanxes. It blocked in an arc in front of the Eurasian Federation fleet at the far end of the sea level. Qin Tian looked through the windshield. The battle formations of the fleets of both sides could not be seen at a glance. Each of the densely packed barrels is aimed at the front. It seemed that thick smoke was about to be spewed out in the next moment. Send that deadly shell into the enemy's hold. And in the live broadcast room, all the people who saw this scene raised their hearts to their throats. This scene is a bit too grand, and it feels even grander than when the foreign devils attacked our Beidou 3 islands back then. Can it be compared to now? At that time, there were not many 10,000 gods chosen in each country, which was several times less than now. Wow, these foreign devils are really deceiving people too much. They waged wars against us again and again. Do they have to drive us to a dead end? Hey, I didn't dare to say it before, but now, we have God Chin, so the direction of this war is really uncertain. 37%. Chapter 188 Locking on the Battleship USS Michigan of Phyllis. Look at the densely packed barrels. Qin Tian is not only not afraid. On the contrary, a boundless fighting spirit rose in his chest. Naturally, this change in momentum couldn't be hidden from Pian Rui's perception. Looking at the surging fighting spirit on Qin Tian's handsome young face, there was a hint of admiration in Rei's eyes. This kid is a piece of work. That's how it should be on the battlefield. The strong are fearless. In order to exert 200% of the strength. If you feel fear from the beginning, you will shrink back. That is often the group of people who die the fastest. Boom, 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 boom. As the two sides continue to approach, numerous various and colorful colors begin to bloom along with innate skills. No extra nonsense. I don't know who fired the first shot. Immediately afterwards, countless shells, missiles and rockets shot into the sky. Like locusts crossing the border, they densely covered the opposite camp. But at this moment, dazzling red light suddenly emerged from the bottom of all the battleships of the Yanlong Navy. Immediately afterwards, a vaguely visible red protective cover emerged. Da da da. Boom boom boom. At the same time, all the close-in defense guns on the battleships on both sides looked up to the sky and began to roar wildly. The endless rain of bullets interweaves firepower points like a spider web. Batch after batch of missiles in midair were strafed into balls of flames. But even this cannot eliminate all missiles. Just the second after the red protective cover was formed, countless naval guns, missiles, and rockets landed like hail in the phalanx of more than 20 Yanlong Navy. Horrific explosions sounded one after another. Gunboats with low health and low defense were continuously emptied of blood and exploded. But more frigates, destroyers, and cruisers were suddenly forced back to a wave of blood when their blood volume decreased. It was this wave of blood returning. The battleship that should have been killed at 7 or 8 costs was abruptly pulled back from the brink of death. On the other hand, the ghosts of the Eurasian Federation on the opposite side did not have such good luck. They don't have Nangong Li's defense boost and dodge boost. At the moment when countless naval guns, missiles and rockets fell and exploded, thousands of battleships were directly emptied of blood. Flames burst out and sank toward the bottom of the sea, braving smoke. In the rear of the battlefield, seeing this scene, Phyllis Lott's face instantly turned livid. Bastard, what's going on? It's obvious that we have more fleets, so why did we fail completely in the first round of sinking warships? Looking at the dense smoke in one's own fleet and the sparse smoke in Yanlong Navy fleet, Phyllis couldn't believe her eyes. Master, I heard that a goddess chooser from the Yanlong Empire upgraded her auxiliary skills to the SSS level because she issued a skill upgrade book. I got news that this woman has joined the Yanlong Navy. I don't know if it isn't it about her. Behind Phyllis, an old man over half a century old said in a humble voice. Fake, why is it an SSS level talent again? What's the situation in the Yanlong Empire? How could there be 2 SSS level talent gods chosen this year? Phyllis yelled angrily, it doesn't matter, we have a lot of people, and grinding can grind them to death. Give me an order to make each phalanx follow the orders of commanders at all levels to use the 3-stage attack method, and let them do it. To be uniform, advance and retreat with a degree. I'd like to see how Zhang Zongjun's blood recovery method works under the 3-stage attack. In addition, inform Reese that he also send people to search for the location of Zhang Zongjun's Qinglong. Everything else is secondary. If Zhang Zongjun can be eliminated, then we will win half of this battle. Quote. Yes, Master. Phyllis' order came quickly. Not long. The nearly 40 phalanxes of the Eurasian Federation began to attack alternately in groups of 3 or 3. In this way, the attacks came wave after wave without interruption. As a result, some frigates couldn't wait for the 10-second cooldown period to return to blood. Then it was hit with the effect of dying and sinking, and there were a few casualties. But even so, the casualty rate of the Yanlong Navy is also far lower than that of the Eurasian Federation fleet. After all, the 50% defense and 20% dodge value are not for nothing. Shiete, continue to attack and tell the leaders of Kangaroo, Ah-san, and Dayan that if they can't take Tianchuan Island before the empire on which the sun never sets takes Tianchuan Island, then let their people go by themselves in reality. Go face those alien bastards. Seeing that the tactics he proposed did not achieve much results, Phyllis immediately began to blame and threaten. Blame all of this on the leaders of the following countries for not properly supervising the battle. Regardless of how angry and furious Phyllis was. But Qin Tian's side really killed the numbness. Dozens of naval guns fired in salvo, plus occasionally 2 or 3 waves of rocket launchers. He looked at the title panel. The first title belonging to the battlefield category, 100 Battle Elite Soldiers, soon had the option of activate after he had sunk a total of 100 enemy warships. Qin Tian naturally chose to activate without any hesitation. 100 Battles Elite Soldier. Attack plus 10, HP plus 50, defense plus 10. The added attributes are not many. But after all, it is the lowest level battlefield title. Talk is better than nothing. And just when the killing on Qin Tian's side was on the rise. At this moment, he suddenly received a message from Zhang Zongjun in his mind. Xiao Qin, coordinates, 4x, this is the coordinates of the enemy battleship you want. After Qin Tian saw it, he immediately told Yao Lang the coordinates. Yao Ming immediately positioned himself on the radar. And enlarged the locked image after positioning. I saw a battleship with many gun barrels appearing on the big screen. Zhang Zongjun then sent a message to Qin Tian. This is the battleship Canberra of the Kangaroo Kingdom. Of Kangaroo Country. Seeing this, Qin Tian immediately suppressed the idea of letting Yao Lang attack. Then he replied to Zhang Zongjun. General Zhang, can you find the location of the battleship of Phyllis or Reese? Once I succeed in my first attack, it will definitely arouse the vigilance of the opponent, and it will be difficult to kill, so our first target is best to find a heavy ship. Pound point, strive to maximize the benefits. Okay, leave it to me. When Zhang Zongjun thought about it, this was indeed the reason. So after replying to Qin Tian, he continued to search. After another few minutes of waiting, Zhang Zongjun soon sent another coordinate. Coordinates. 4x, Reese's battleship was not found, but this is Phyllis's Michigan, do you want to do it? Qin Tian heard that it was Phyllis's warship. That naturally chose him without hesitation. The promise is good go. As the instigator, messing with him is better than anything else. Backquote, Aaron, locate this coordinate. Qin Tian immediately told Yao Lang the new coordinates. With the image displayed on the big screen. Sure enough, a battleship that was bigger and more powerful than the Canberra battleship in the Kangaroo Kingdom appeared in front of several people. Okay, that's it, lock on to the target, and blow him up. Qin Tian said with blazing flames in his eyes. Clear. Lock the target is locked. Fire. Boom boom boom. This moment especially, all the battleships around can see it. Their honorary major general was just a tepid cruiser. This moment was like a shark smelling blood. In an instant, the spirit was lifted, and the calendar was dirty. I saw dozens of naval guns roaring continuously. The dense rockets are like fireflies. There are countless tail flames shining, soaring into the sky wave after wave. Followed by 4 flying fish missiles that look a little low-key. 37%. Chapter 189 Death of Phyllis. The Lauder family's sky-high reward. And seeing Qin Tian start to show his power. Naturally, Zhang Zongjun would not sit idly by. Dozens of artillery and several missiles on the battleship bombarded Phyllis's Michigan battleship at the same time. Nangong La, who was instructed by Zhang Zongjun, was also not polite. Endless smoke instantly filled the destroyer. Then 20 or 30 missiles soared into the sky at the same time. The target that followed was directed at Phyllis. Opposite the big rear, the center of a fleet square. Phyllis was sitting on the bridge waiting for news from Reese. What was waiting was the loud exclamation of the crew members in front of the center console. Be bombarded, be bombarded. Rockets are coming. The melee weapon is in automatic mode. There's a hit, stand still. Sit tight and hold on, sit tight and hold on. Phyllis frowned. Where did this attack come from? Don't look at the fierce fighting ahead, with constant casualties. But his phalanx in the rear has not been attacked. Now hit suddenly. He needs to determine the source of the attack. Is it an unintentional attack by the opponent or has he already exposed his position? Boom boom boom. It's just that he hasn't waited for someone to answer him. The shells and rockets of countless naval guns bombarded his battleship Michigan. The violent shock made him grab the armrest forcefully. Only then did 327 stabilize his figure. It's just that one wave has not settled down and another wave has risen again. Before he could open his mouth to give an order, several crew members in front of the center console yelled in horror again. Missile attack, unable to defend. Convert melee weapons to manual. No, it's too late. Watch out for impact. Boom, boom, boom. Immediately afterwards, there was a wave of stronger shocks. When the shock passes, when Phyllis saw the two head-sized holes on the deck that were blasted open, his anger instantly reached Tianlin Gai. Fake, it must have been exposed. Calculate the source of the attack for me. His deck is a mythical deck. Ordinary shipboard armaments can't do this kind of damage at all. Only warships of the same level as him can have such an attack. Clear. The crew in charge of the radar calculations started immediately. Although the battleship is still suffering from shelling, missiles and rocket attacks. But everyone has calmed down. Captain, the direction of the ballistic trajectory is from our direction at 11 o'clock. After calculation, it is a direction 26 kilometers away from us. The crew in charge of radar calculations reported the results immediately after calculating the results. Scan that phalanx for me, and release the image. Phyllis said with a gloomy expression. Yes. Then there was a burst of crackling operations. Then 3 battleships with a certain distance in the middle appeared on the big screen of the central control. Hee, Zhang Zongjun, Qin Tian, finally let me find you. It's just a coincidence. Just 2 seconds after his radar scan imaging, Qin Tian's warship flew out 4 more missiles and rockets from the launcher. Here Phyllis was still sneering and giving orders. Ask the crew to send Zhang Zongjun's coordinates to reset all. But the next moment his crew shouted in panic again. Phyllis wasn't too worried about this. His Michigan was bred to more than 41,000 blood by him. Even the defense has nearly 500. Even if it is forced to suffer 2 rounds of missile attacks, so what? While thinking, he subconsciously opened the attribute panel of his battleship. Want to see how much blood is left? Start repairs without consuming resources. I don't know the result. I was shocked when I saw it. I saw that his original blood of more than 41,000 is now only more than 19,000. FK, how did this happen? After seeing his blood volume clearly, Phyllis' eyes widened in an instant. At this time, 3 of the 4 Myth-class Y-15 anti-ship missiles fired by Qin Tian went through the hail of bullets and hit the bow and deck of his battleship one after another. Phyllis couldn't care less about the shock. He stared at the attribute panel of his battleship. I saw Ben's remaining 19,000 blood dropped sharply by nearly 8,000 in an instant, and accompanied by the continuous bombardment of rockets in the sky. The health bar of his battleship dropped below 10 AGGJ 10,000 in a few seconds. Damn it, what level of missile is this? How could it have such high damage? What about less and constant? Tell them to quickly release auxiliary skills to restore my blood. While talking, he will consume supplies for repairs. It's not good, Captain. The 2 auxiliary destroyers behind us have all been sunk. What? Phyllis was taken aback. Shit. Only at this moment did he realize the seriousness of the problem. Retreat. Retreat immediately. While talking, he consumed nearly 1 million supplies and began to repair his battleship. But the speed of material restoration and blood recovery is not very fast. That's hundreds of points of blood returned every second. Moreover, it is not easy for a battleship with a length of 200 to 300 meters to change direction. So Qin Tian released another wave of Y-15 anti-ship missiles and a wave of 122 mm rocket launchers. The battleship USS Michigan, which the Lauder family regarded as the pride, was directly martyred in Phyllis's desperate roar. Sir, I just received news that the battleship USS Michigan was bombed. My lord, Phyllis Michigan has been sunk. What shall we do? Sir, this battle can't be fought. Why don't we withdraw? With Phyllis' death, the fleet of nearly 100,000 people in the entire Eurasian Federation suddenly panicked. Why panic? I'm still here. Keep fighting for me. And at this moment, Reese' voice resounded through the entire Eurasian Federation camp through loudspeakers. Relying on his title as the first captain of the lighthouse and his status as the commander of the Duke family's fleet, finally, the military's morale was temporarily stabilized. And at the moment in the outside world, in a certain manner of the Lighthouse Empire, several core members of the Lauder family gathered together. The atmosphere of the restaurant was deathly quiet and dignified. They originally wanted to celebrate that their proud son of heaven would set foot on Tianshu Island, the largest island of the Yanlong Empire today. Take it as your own, and only after adding strength and benefits to the family will you gather for dinner. But who would have thought that the result would be like this? At this moment, the table full of delicious food and wine seems to be silently mocking their arrogance and stupidity. Father, the second child must not die in vain, otherwise the prestige of our Loot family will be destroyed. Damn Qin Tian, why don't we use our privileges to mobilize a mushroom and throw it directly? What nonsense are you talking about? Third, throwing mushrooms over there. Are you afraid that you won't be able to attract those alien bastards? This won't work, that won't work, so what do you think we should do? Is it possible that you can break through the siege of aliens and rush in and kill Qin Tian's wife and daughter? Who said we need to do it ourselves? Father, I suggest that we offer a reward of 1 billion yuan to Qin Tian's wife and daughter. Even if we can't kill them in a short time, we must let that mother and daughter never have peace. As the direct members of the Lauder family reached an agreement. Soon, a sky-high reward of 1 billion tacoins caused a sensation in the entire Greynet world. 38%. Chapter 190 want as taxpayers to die. No way. And at this moment, outside the Tianshu Island in World of Warships, the boundless super-large naval battle is still going on continuously. After Qin Tian killed Phyllis, the well-known commander-in-chief of the Lighthouse Fleet, it can be said that Yanlong's morale is like a rainbow. Coupled with Nangong Li's SSS-level magical skills, the whole army escort. The battle-loss ratio of the two sides almost reached a ratio of 5-1. In other words, a battleship was sunk by the Yanlong Navy. The Eurasian Federation may have already sunk 5 warships. This is for the Eurasian Federation, which has an advantage in numbers. What a disgrace. And Qin Tian doesn't care about these. After killing Phyllis, he didn't stop there. Instead, he turned his attention directly to the Kangaroo State battleship Canberra that Zhang Zongjun had previously searched for. General Zhang, please continue to search for the location of the Reese battleship. I will go to see if the battleship from the Kangaroo country is still there. After Qin Tian sent the message to Zhang Zongjun, then let Yao Ming use the radar to rescan the previous coordinate position. After the scanned image comes out, everyone in the control room laughed. Unexpectedly, the other party was still there. Naturally, Qin Tian would not miss such a good opportunity. Aaron, block this battleship for me, and try to finish it within 2 minutes. Qin Tian said to Yao Lang. No problem. Yao Lang nodded confidently. Then he greeted Ma Fei and started to get busy. Fei, locate the target and lock it. Understood. Start positioning. Positioning is complete, and is being locked. With Ma Fei's operation, the gun barrels on the battleship immediately began to change directions in unison. Target locked. After completing the task, Ma Fei said sonorously. Hear Ma Fei's words. Yao Lang turned his head to look at Qin Tian. Wait for his order to fire. Fire. Following Qin Tian's order, dozens of naval guns and 100 rockets were fired continuously with thick smoke. The battleship Canberra, which was still firing black guns in its own fleet phalanx, didn't even figure out what was going on. He was immediately stunned by this ferocious attack. After turning the barrel back and forth twice, he didn't know how to fight back. It is estimated that the radar observers calculated Qin Tian's coordinate position. This made Canberra more than 30 cannons finally aim at Qin Tian's direction after struggling for nearly a minute. It's just that its discovery seems to have been a bit late. Suffered the baptism of more than a dozen rounds of naval guns and 2 rounds of rockets from the Qin Tian cruiser. The remaining blood volume of the Canberra has long been seriously insufficient. Following Qin Tian's release of 4 mythical Y-15 missiles hit it one after another. The soaring flames immediately enveloped the Kangaroo Kingdom's only battleship, the HMS Canberra. No, see this scene. Countless Chinese kangaroos in the live broadcast room burst into tears in pain. What Qin Tian destroyed was not just a battleship. It may be the umbrella of tens of millions of people. I heard that the Sakura Empire was attacked by a wave of alien creatures a few days ago. It was originally just a small-scale harassment. But it may be that they sensed something wrong with the strongest God-favored person in the Sakura Empire. These alien creatures not only did not withdraw these days. On the contrary, there are signs of continuing to increase troops and invade the whole territory. It is said that hundreds of thousands of civilians in the Sakura Empire have been captured by alien creatures. And now the battleship of their Kangaroo Empire has also sunk. After a while, will they also encounter the same situation as the Sakura Empire? At this moment, they really hated the mandatory call of the Lighthouse Empire to the extreme. At the same time, he hated Qin Tian's ruthlessness. HMPH, this is what happens when you respond to the call of the Lighthouse Empire and fight against God Qin. Oh my god, God Qin is invincible. This is already the third battleship that God Qin has sunk, right? Ha ha ha, God Qin is the most handsome. I'm afraid the Eurasian alliance is going to cry to death this time. I just looked at the other three islands, only to deal with General Huang. Tianchuan Island, where General Huang is currently in charge, has a battleship, and the other three islands or the cruisers are leading the fight, and the strength of the two sides is equal, and no one can do anything to the other in a short period of time. As long as Qin Shen wins a big victory on Tianshu Island, the loss of the two battleships of the opponent is simply an immeasurable loss. See this last message. Countless Yanlong people were immediately pleasantly surprised. This time the Eurasian Federation seems to have a total of 4 battleships. If God Qin keeps all these 4 battleships, wouldn't the Eurasian Federation feel distressed to death? That's for sure. Ha ha ha, Qin God, come on, kill the race of the Duke family, let them have a good taste of the fate of provoking us. Naturally, there were some members of the Duke family lurking in the live broadcast room. Pay attention to the dynamics and situation on Qin Tian's side. After seeing these remarks now, they all involuntarily broke into a cold sweat for their families. Ding Hai Shenzhen. 0. Ask for flowers. I started to worry in my heart. Just like the people in the studio. On the battlefield, the chosen ones of the Eurasian Federation saw that the battleships of the Kangaroo Kingdom were sunk so easily. The last persistence in my heart was completely destroyed. Then some God's chosen people around the periphery controlled the battleship and began to flee towards the distance without authorization. Yes, just escape. They chose to be deserters. In their view, instead of throwing your life here so worthlessly because of an inexplicable, Qin threat theory, it's better to go back to the sea obediently and continue your hard work to survive. Moreover, many of them didn't want to come. There is no psychological burden at all to leave now. 0. Notice this situation. Reese Duke suddenly panicked. He turned on the loudspeaker, suppressed his panic and anger, and angrily reprimanded him in a voice that only they, the rear, could hear. Xie Te, what are you doing? Fleeing. You are going to kill us. Has the lighthouse lost all its face? This is the case at the moment. He didn't dare to use drastic means to stop those people. In case you offend the other party. The other party beat him in groups regardless of their care. Then the attack of these thousands of people. Even if he is a battleship, he may not be able to withstand it. Fake squid, even your battleships are already helpless against each other, and you are still here to let us taxpayers rush to die in vain. Who is ashamed? That's right, you spent our money on everything you eat and wear in this world. Could it be possible that you won't recognize people when you enter World of Warships? If you want to hit yourself, we don't want to die yet. To be attacked like this. Reese Duke also has no choice. He knew that the expedition organized by Phyllis had been a complete failure. And it was a complete failure. Even the person in charge of the Lauder family's fleet died in battle. The extent of this failure can be imagined. In addition, the tens of thousands of Lot family and the chosen ones of the Kangaroo Empire have no leader and retreat on their own. This is tantamount to handing the sharp butcher's knives directly into the hands of those chosen by the Yanlong Empire. He can totally imagine it. What kind of massacre these people will encounter next. The battle is over. Their Eurasian Federation is afraid that it will be weakened a lot. 38%. Chapter 191 Great Defeat, Frenzied Harvesting of Heads. Think about it. Reese Duke's heart was full of helplessness and anger. Obviously a good situation, but why did it become like the bird it is now? But right now he had nothing better to do. These people are now crazy for their lives. If he forcibly blocks it now, I am afraid that they will be attacked by tens of thousands of people immediately. So the only thing he can do now is to preserve the strength of his family's fleet. So there is no hesitation. He directly organized the 2 fleet phalanxes of the Duke family around him to operate with full left rudder at the same time. Then he directly left the team and began to retreat to the back. He didn't want his family's fleet to face those God's chosen who were retreating in a panic. In case they break up the formation, then they, the elite fleet of the Duke family, probably have to explain it here. It's just that he probably never dreamed that he would retreat so abruptly. He directly exposed his whereabouts. Been a soldier half my life. How could Zhang Zongjun, who had learned a lot of marching and fighting skills, miss such a good opportunity? Without any hesitation, turn up the loudspeaker to the maximum. Then he shouted at the top of his voice, Reese Duke has escaped, you have been abandoned. Qin Tian, who was not far from Zhang Zongjun, naturally heard these words clearly. Yao Lang had already told him just now. Deserters appeared one after another on the periphery of the enemy's positions. Now I heard Zhang Zongjun shouting again. Qin Tian doesn't care about him. Also turn on the loudspeaker directly. He yelled as hard as he could. Reese Duke has escaped, you are abandoned. He heard Qin Tian shout out together with him. Zhang Zongjun smiled gratifiedly. This kid's mind is still very flexible. Followed by Nangong Le. Then more and more people started shouting together. The sound also changed from inaudible at first to a majestic cry resounding throughout the battlefield. The chosen ones of the Eurasian Federation who were at the forefront were a little confused at first. Didn't figure out exactly what happened. But under the explanation of the radar observer, only then did they know what was going on. Reese Duke actually fled in fear of the battle. Although almost all radar observers explained that the problem of deserters first appeared, Reese Duke retreated. But no one cares. All they know is that they have been abandoned. While they were still fighting for each other's so-called family glory, the so-called first lighthouse person abandoned them so timidly and cowardly. Just ran away first. This is an army of tens of thousands of God's chosen. How dare he? At this moment, for the first time, Reese Duke's prestige in the minds of these God's chosen has collapsed. The deafening shouts on the battlefield naturally reached Reese Duke's ears. After hearing the content of the shout clearly, he almost spat out a mouthful of old blood. Clenching his fists, Reese Duke hit the armrest of the seat with a hammer on his face. He knew he was done. Be passed on like this. His reputation is completely rotten. He can totally imagine it. He clearly expected that the army would be defeated in advance, so he had to retreat in order to preserve his vitality. It will also be forcibly discredited because it was his big retreat. That's why it led to the complete retreat of the expeditionary force. He, Reese Duke, is a sinner of the Eurasian Federation. As for the facts, not many people will care. He has heard the story of 3 people becoming a tiger. At this moment, Reese Duke's heart was ashamed. And no matter how upset and regretful he was, these have nothing to do with Qin Tian. As Zhang Zongjun's strategy came into play, it didn't take long. The 30,000 to 40,000 God chosen from the Eurasian Federation on the opposite side began to be defeated regardless. The one in front wants to turn around. The one behind couldn't break enough to push up. For a while, the position of the Eurasian Federation fleet was in a mess like a headless chicken. Under this kind of great opportunity, how could Zhang Zongjun let it go? Immediately the loudspeaker was turned on. He gave the order, call me. Boom boom boom. Qin Tian and the others instantly fired at the densest place in the crowd with full firepower. Knowing that there was no suspense in this battle, Qin Tian sat on the bridge chair. With a thought, he opened his title panel. At this moment, there are 2 more titles that can be activated in his title panel. First Blood. Attack plus 80, HP plus 500, Defense plus 50 activate. Battlefield Vanguard. Attack plus 50, HP plus 200, Defense plus 30 activate. Qin Tian looked at the unlocking requirements of these 2 titles. First Blood is unlocked by the first leapfrog kill on the battlefield. Battlefield Vanguard is unlocked by killing 300 warships on the battlefield. After reading it, Qin Tian activated both titles without saying a word. Although there are not many attributes added, but it has accumulated a lot. And in the live broadcast room, everyone who saw this scene couldn't sit still. Fake, Yanlong people, you can't kill them all like this. Stop, that's more than 30,000 people, are you really so cruel? Hey, I don't know what bullshit you're talking about. Why didn't you talk about tolerance when you attacked me Beidou Mishima and killed so many of us God's chosen? Xiete, that time we killed at most a few thousand of you. That's because there were few God's chosen people at that time, and our people ran in time, otherwise your posture that time would have killed at least tens of thousands of us. Besides, who can blame this situation? This time, it was your Eurasian Federation who initiated the attack. Heaven commits evil, it can still be violated, self-inflicted evil can't live. No matter how noisy the live broadcast room is. But in World of Warships, Qin Tian and the others didn't hold back at all. Reese Duke, who fled to the distance, scanned a few pictures with radar scanning and took a look. Immediately, he closed his eyes even more desperately. It's really appalling. 30,000 to 40,000 Eurasian Federation God-chosen are jammed together. It was semi-surrounded by 50,000 to 60,000 Yanlong Empire's chosen ones and bombarded them continuously. He can predict. What a miserable fate for these people. How much pressure he will bear after returning. Fortunately, his battleship was upgraded to a battleship. Otherwise, you may lose your life. And in the battlefield, Qin Tian, who had the idea of unlocking as many titles as possible to unlock 5.4 titles, didn't hold back in the fight. Naval guns and rockets were fired wave after wave as if they were free of money. And in fact, it doesn't cost money. These Eurasian Federation gods' chosen battleships all have sufficient wood materials and sheet metal materials. Qin Tian only needs to kill 20 or 30 people to earn back a large amount of supplies to fill all the ammunition bays. The more kills, the more he earns. DDDD. When Qin Tian went below the deck, preparing to resupply all the ammunition bays for the north time, suddenly, a private chat notification sounded in my mind. When I opened it, it turned out to be Nangongla. Boss, isn't this kind of cruel killing? I've already killed more than 800 people, so I feel like I can't do it. Qin Tian saw this and thought of the other party who was not yet 20 years old. I can understand more or less in my heart. But understanding is understanding. It should be advised. 38%. Chapter 192. 3 titles. Soldiers are crying and laughing. I can't bear to face Nangongla. Qin Tian directly replied to the message. Girl, being kind is a good thing, but we must also distinguish between the time and the situation. We are now in the world of warships. If we have the opportunity to become stronger in this world, we must not hesitate. After sending, Qin Tian thought for a while and continued to enlighten the other party. Besides, this is not our fault. They insisted on attacking us. You have to think about it differently. If they won this war, how would they treat us? When considering this issue, you also need to count those title rewards in the title panel. See Qin Tian's message. Nangongla subconsciously opened the title panel. Find those titles related to the battlefield and just look at it. From 100 Battle Veteran with the least attribute increase to Battle Leader, Uncrowned King, and other titles that can easily increase thousands of attack power and thousands of HP later. Nangong felt relieved immediately. Is this even a question? Having these titles is exciting. The devils from the Eurasian Federation will definitely kill them. No, there is a high probability that the men will kill them all. The female captive was first raped wantonly. Slowly 06 was overwhelmed and then killed one after another. War is inherently cruel. Winner and loser, no one can be sure that he is the one who is destined to win. Thinking of the miserable end if he was caught. The guilt in Nangong Li's heart disappeared all of a sudden. Thank you, boss, I think I know what to do. Look at this message. Qin Tian hesitated for a moment. Still sent a message. Girl, don't do stupid things, it's not worth putting yourself in danger to save those foreign devils. Nangongla. W. Boss, what are you talking about? I, Nangong Lehui, am such a stupid person. Qin Tian replied without the slightest politeness. Just because you can't do it at the beginning, it means that you already have the idea of letting these devils go. Nangongl covered his face and replied. Don't worry, I'm going to shoot those devils a few times to relieve my hatred. See each other's information. Qin Tian shook his head and ignored her. After consuming a lot of metal sheet materials to fill up all the ammunition bays, he walked across the deck full of supplies, came directly to the bow position. After this endless bombardment, of the more than 30,000 Eurasian Federation warships that were surrounded, less than 10,000 remained. Qin Tian opened his title panel. I saw 3 more titles that could be unlocked appeared on it. Military Brave, Empire Elite, Bravely Crowned 3 armies. The 3 titles correspond to killing 500 enemies, 1,000 enemies and 3,000 enemies respectively. Qin Tian directly chose to activate without any hesitation. Looking at the attribute bonuses of the 3 titles, the corner of his mouth immediately raised a curve. Army Brave. Attack plus 80, HP plus 300, Defense plus 50. Empire Elite. Attack plus 100, HP plus 500, Defense plus 80. Brave Champion 3 armies. Attack plus 150, HP plus 800, Defense plus 100. The attributes of these 3 titles are added together. That was a big boost to his strength. About 10 or 20 minutes later, all the warships of foreign devils captured this time were wiped out. And Qin Tian finally stopped at the number of kills of 4 or 300 people. It failed to reach the standard of killing 5,000 people and unlocking the title of warlord. A fleet of thousands of people was left to clean up the battlefield. Zhang Zongjun greeted Qin Tian and Nangongla and led the large army back to Tianshu Island. Ha ha ha, Xiao Qin, Nangong girl, this victory is really thanks to you too. Otherwise, the remaining 4 islands of our Yanlong Empire may be in danger. Once back on the island, Zhang Zongjun grabbed the 2 of them with great comfort and boasted desperately. The main reason is that Boss Qin played steadily. He took out the opponent's 2 main battleships in less than 20 minutes, and ended the whole battle at once. I was worried what would happen if the fight lasted for more than an hour. Zhang Zongjun embarrassed Nangongla in a few words. Hastily took the credit to Qin Tian. And Qin Tian smiled, and said to Nangongla very calmly, I have my use, and you have yours. If it weren't for your group support, our Yanlong Navy might have lost half of its people today. Quote. Hear Qin Tian's words. Zhang Zongjun immediately nodded quite seriously, and said, Xiao Qin is right about this point, Nangong girl, if it weren't for your group support this time, our Yanlong army would have suffered heavy losses, but this is all right, we won, and then we can develop well for a period of time with peace of mind. That night, Zhang Zongjun followed Qin Tian's advice. Order all soldiers who are not on duty to go to the center of the island to participate in the celebration bonfire party. Actually nothing new. That is, a super huge bonfire was lit in the center of the island. Each army team will light a small bonfire by themselves in a nearby place not far away. Then the military will deliver the grilled meat. Let's all have a good night of celebration. During the period, Qin Tian was pulled out by Zhang Zongjun on the grounds of Major General, stood in the middle and used a loudspeaker to say a few words of encouragement, and the 2 also awarded the reward they had discussed in advance, a set of Major General uniform and military rank to Nangongla. In this way, Nangongla became the only female general among the chosen ones of the Yanlong Empire 1 year in advance. Moreover, Qin Tian also called out the name of the other parties, Dawn Lady, in her previous life. It was quickly recognized by everyone. At the end, as the party draws to a close, I don't know which team started it. More and more soldiers suddenly sobbed and cried. Listening to the voices of crying and laughing all around, Zhang Zongjun said with some emotion and distress, it's all good. It was really suppressed by the grandsons of the Eurasian Federation for too long before 730. Today, the 2 of you joined forces to kill the vigor of those foreign devils. After winning this crucial battle, everyone can't help but vent their emotions. Hear Zhang Zongjun's words. Qin Tian nodded and said, that's true, don't mention them, even I was speechless about the operation of the lighthouse when I watched the time-space live broadcast. We were all invaded by alien civilizations, so many people died, and finally a world of warships finally came out, but the lighthouse insisted on pressing us down inside and not letting us get up. I really don't know what they think. Is it not good to be unanimous? Don't engage in infighting. This time I want to see, let's kill tens of thousands of them directly, and see how they feel in their hearts. Zhang Zongjun smiled and said after hearing Qin Tian's words, what's so strange about this? You have to know that the power class of the lighthouse is actually established by those capitalist families. In peacetime, our Yanlong Empire has become more and more powerful, and we are fully qualified to be on an equal footing with them. But at that time, we and them were 2 countries after all, and even if there were intersections, there were not many intersections, so many conflicts were due to conflicts of interest between countries and had nothing to do with those capitalists. But it would be different if they form an alliance and become one, which involves a conflict of interests over who will take the lead and who will control the distribution power. Zhang Zongjun carefully explained to Qin Tian the doorsteps inside. Qin Tian nodded repeatedly. I suddenly understood a lot of things and inside stories in my heart. 38%. Chapter 193 The reason why the lighthouse suppresses Yanlong, the target is Yuang Island. In fact, Qin Tian himself has been guessing. Wait until the future to really enter the interstellar era. Sooner or later, the Blue Star countries will unite into a brand new front. So who is the leader and who will dominate the entire alliance is very important. And now listen to what Zhang Zongjun said. Qin Tian immediately understood. Profit distribution rights. This is indeed a topic threshold that cannot be bypassed. After all, who has mastered this? Whoever has the right to speak is equivalent to mastering the initiative. There will never be a shortage of errand runners around. If Lighthouse beats Yanlong and becomes the leader of the entire alliance, you can guess without thinking. Those capitalist families will receive the greatest distribution of benefits, followed by the G side of the Lighthouse Empire. Then there are those younger brother countries that have been following behind the Lighthouse Empire. In the end, I'm afraid it will be the turn of Yanlong and Maoshong, the former hostile countries. So if the Yanlong Empire can't become stronger before then there is a high probability that they will be bullied by the Lighthouse Empire in the future. It's never easy to turn over. After all, how can you fight with the Yanlong Empire, whose per capita savings is only 5 or 600 a year, against the Lighthouse Empire, whose per capita savings is only 7 to 80,000 a year? Wait until it really enters the interstellar era. Everyone is a star warship equipped with a star destroyer. But you only have millet and a rifle. This gap cannot be made up by the population at all. And this is why the Lighthouse Empire has been suppressing the Yanlong Empire in World of Warships. Unexpectedly, these capitalist families have such a long-term vision. Not long after World of Warships appeared, they have already begun to plan for the future era of the interstellar universe. There is really nothing to say about this vision and means. And like the situation in the previous life, in the end, it should have been succeeded by the big capitalist families of the Lighthouse Empire. Just this life, there is a stir here with him. The rise of the Yanlong Empire is destined to be unstoppable. The wishful thinking of those big capitalist families has completely come to nothing. In the future, I am afraid that they will form a three-point alliance with Yanlong and Maoshong Empire to jointly control Blue Star. Then let's see how powerful the interstellar civilization of those Zarare people will be. After all, it was not difficult to hear from the tone of the will of the planet at that time. She is obviously much more afraid of the Zarians than those alien creatures that invaded the world. So it's obvious, in the eyes of the will of the planet. As long as the warships of the ordinary God-chosen evolve to the aircraft carrier, or even the battleship level, the favored ones almost have the strength to resist the extraterrestrial creatures in this world. But at this level of evolution, it is somewhat difficult to resist the Zarians. A bonfire party finally came to an end amidst the crying and laughing of countless soldiers of the Yanlong Navy. Xiao Qin, Nangong girl, thank you. Watching those Marine soldiers pack up the venue one by one. The whole person is full of energy and vitality as if he has experienced a nirvana transformation. Zhang Zongjun suddenly thanked Qin Tian and Nangong happily. Then without waiting for the two to speak, then I heard Zhang Zongjun continue to say, our soldiers are actually working really hard. Every morning after waking up, they open their eyes, wash up and eat breakfast, and start to search hard for supplies. Upgrade yourself to build a powerful fleet. But 2 or 3 years passed. But they have never been able to see the hope of getting rid of the suppression of the Eurasian Federation. It makes them miserable. Every day, I feel like a walking dead in a daze. Sometimes I feel pain in my heart when I watch them doing the same thing numbly. But after this battle, they finally saw hope. Take a look at these energetic appearances. I really have never seen it. So thank you for helping them make it this far. Listen to Zhang Zongjun's words. Look at those tall and straight figures who are talking and laughing, with their heads held high and their chests held high. Qin Tian was also in awe for a while. Yes, speaking of which, he was able to upgrade so quickly. These soldiers of the Yanlong Navy have put in a lot of effort. If it weren't for their hard work collecting supplies every day, it is also impossible for Zhang Zongjun to conduct various transactions with him so proudly. Ha ha ha, well, let's not talk about this. Anyway, today is a good day. Zhang Zongjun suddenly laughed heartily and said, I have already asked about the other 3 islands. Just after our side defeated the Eurasian Federation fleet, their Eurasian Federation fleet retreated successively, so this time our losses are not great. Hear this. Qin Tian and Nangong La both heaved a sigh of relief. General Zhang, do you think we are here, and do you want to take back the Kaihang Island occupied by the Little Devil? Suddenly, Qin Tian opened his mouth and asked what he thought. Zhang Zongjun said with a smile on his face, your boy and I thought about going together. I got news from the outside world. Because the Little Devil lost the deterrent of the battleship's head combat power, some alien bastards turned their eyes back again. When it comes to the Little Devil's Sakura Empire, they are increasing their troops now, maybe they want to wipe them out in one fell swoop. So now the Little Devils dare not start a war with us no matter what. Maybe as soon as our large army passed by, the other party would abandon the island and flee if they didn't even dare to fight. Quote. When Qin Tian heard this, he laughed and said, that's a good thing. At the beginning, our Yanlong was overshadowed by the lighthouse, which led to the siege of the army of aliens, and let the little devil Sakura Empire escape. Let's see if they can rely on it this time. Who? Ha ha ha, I really want to see it too. I heard that the other party asked us to send troops to help, but the person above directly refused. The reason is very good, because we are currently under siege and cannot get out. Zhang Zongjun said with a smile. Ha ha ha, Qin Tian and Nangongla couldn't help laughing again. The three chatted a few more words. Seeing that it was past 12 o'clock, they went back to Zhang Zongjun's small courtyard together and prepared to rest. And Qin Tian was just lying on the bed and was about to fall asleep. He was awakened by the notification sound of private chat in his mind. It's a big night, who will disturb my rest? Qin Tian opened it speechlessly. Then it's fun. I lost it. If I had known you were so powerful, I would have run here to blow some cold wind, and went straight back to the battle to unlock a lot of battlefield titles, wouldn't he be good? The news came coldly. From the above, one can clearly feel the full resentment of the other party. Seeing this, Qin Tian immediately replied. Brother Lang, I can't blame me for this. I didn't expect this battle to be so smooth. In fact, the main reason is that girl Nangong Li's auxiliary skills are too powerful, allowing me to attack without any worries. Brother Lang, wait, you will know once you come back to fight with that girl. Is he really as amazing as you said? Just now old man Zhang was still showing off in front of me that he had sunk more than 3,000 enemy ships and unlocked 4 titles. It really pissed me off. As soon as the sour message was sent, almost made Qin Tian laugh out loud. Unexpectedly, such a tough and resolute iron-blooded general like Zhang Zongjun actually has this side. Now he can fully imagine how desolate and helpless Lang Lang's heart is. I thought this battle would be tough. The other party is planning to turn the tide by sacrificing their lives on Lot Island. As a result, before the operation started, it was discovered that the base camp had already won. Not only a victory, but a big victory. Even many soldiers who survived sank more than 100 warships to unlock the title of 100 fighters. This kind of victory has to make Lang Lai, who is known as the god of war, jealous. Qin Tian can imagine it completely. Brother Lang, let me introduce you to that girl's talent and skills, and you will know how changeable it is. Provide 50% defense, 20% dodge, and restore 5,000 to 6,000 life points to the whole army warships every 10 seconds within 1 hour, just ask if you are good. Qin Tian happily sent Nangong Li's innate skills to Lang Lai. FK. After reading it coldly over there, he burst out with a foul language in an instant. It's no wonder those foreign devils will lose. If you add your perverted attack power, the strongest shield and the strongest spear combined, and the opponent doesn't lose, then it's a ghost. Seeing that such a tiger general has been added to his army, Lang Lai also grinned happily. Okay. By the way, Brother Lang, I just discussed with General Zhang. In a few days, I will go to Yuang Island to take a walk and take back Yuang Island. Do you want to hurry back and fish for it? While chatting, Qin Tian suddenly sent a message telling Lang Lai a bombshell. Come on, go back, I have to go back now. You tell old man Zhang, this action must wait for me to go back, and I will start to return. Seeing this, Qin Tian replied with a smile. That's fine, we will definitely wait for you to come back, so don't worry. Then the two chatted casually for a few more words. The call ended, and the next few days, Qin Tian temporarily stayed on Tianshu Island, waiting for the cold to come back. During the day he went to sea to search for supplies on his own. Go back to the island to rest at night. After the Battle of Tianshu Island, the soldiers on the whole island now respect him and Nangong Lana like a god. Anyone who sees them must give a military salute with fanaticism. Qin Tian even suspected it. If I recruit these Yanlong Navy fighters to the battleship, I'm afraid that the loyalty of each one can reach the level of fanaticism immediately. 6 days later, Qin Tian finally received the message from Zhang Zongjun. Cool, back, 38%. Chapter 194. Prepare to conquer Yuang Island, wife and daughter attacked. Evening. When the sun is setting, Qin Tian's battleship returned to the island of Tianshu Island. Just off the battleship, Qin Tian saw Lang Lang, who was laughing on the shore and walking towards him. Ha ha ha, your kid is finally back. Walking over coldly, he gave Qin Tian a big hug. Then walk away with an arm around his shoulders. While walking, he said, let's go back and have dinner. Let me tell you, Brother Lang, I'm definitely lucky today. Qin Tian was made curious by his words. Immediately couldn't help asking, What's the matter, so happy? Have you opened a mythical treasure chest? Cold. Ahem, it's a little bit worse than that, he said with some lack of confidence. That means you've opened a gold-level treasure chest. Qin Tian nodded and said, that's not bad. Hearing the words coldly, he immediately smiled boldly. It's not only good, do you know what's in it? 10 bottles of liquor. What's the name called? Xinguang. Although I haven't heard of it, but the taste is absolutely amazing. You can try it later, you know it in one bite. Guess I'm not here. That guy Lao Zhang took a few sips by himself. Quote. Hearing the cold words, Qin Tian was very surprised. How can there be wine in the treasure chest? He had never heard of this in his previous life. Haha, be surprised. To be honest, I was also surprised when I drove it out, but whatever, just drink some. Look very open coldly. In this way, the two returned to Zhang Zongjun's courtyard quickly amidst the salute of the soldiers one by one. Then it didn't take long for a cold growl to sound from the house. Zhang Zongjun, you actually drank most of this bottle of wine. I didn't even want to drink a few glasses after that. Cough cough, Xiao Lai, let's put down the knife first, and talk if you have something to say. That's right, General Leng, don't be impulsive. In fact, General Zhang didn't drink a few glasses of 303. The main reason is that I thought it was pretty good after taking a sip, and then I couldn't hold back the remaining half bottle of wine. I drank it all. Cold, Qin Tian looked at the scene that instantly became lively in this room. For a while, I was a little dumbfounded. Unexpectedly, Nangongla, a girl who looks like a good girl. The amount of alcohol is so large. Tian picked up another unopened bottle of Starlight wine on the table to check the reading. Good guy, 71 degrees. Then look at Nangong Li's normal appearance with no blushing and no heartbeat. Qin Tian couldn't help but deeply doubt the quality of this wine. Could it be that the inside of this special meow is a fake bar? Or is it juice? After joking for a while, the chef took the plate and started serving the dishes. In fact, it was almost the same as what I ate that day. 8 dishes and 1 soup. It can be regarded as washing the dust off the cold wind. Come on, let's offer a toast to General Leng. If General Leng hadn't been fighting outside this year to deter the lighthouse, we, Nakajima, wouldn't have been able to hold on until Shaoqin and Nangong Girl this year's God-chosen grow up. Under Zhang Zongjun's proposal, the 4 clinked glasses. After Qin Tian took a sip into his mouth, throat, eyes and heart instantly felt hot as if they were on fire. Then he fought back the urge to cough and look at the other 3. It turned out that the situation of the 3 of them was no better than him. His face became more and more red. The expression is also rich and grinning. This includes Nangongla as well. Only after 6 or 7 seconds, the heat gradually subsided. Then it turned into a refreshing coolness. AGDD. At the same time, there is a faint sweet fragrance in the mouth. The cool and refreshing aftertaste is like taking a sip of Starlight. Have to say, this wine really lives up to its name. Qin Tian couldn't help but fell in love with this aftertaste instantly. I ate a meal until the live broadcast ended after 10 o'clock. Leng Lai suddenly asked Qin Tian, Shaoshan, if we set off for Yuang Island tomorrow, how many people do you think it is appropriate to bring? See, we got down to business. Several people also put away their laughter and became serious. Qin Tian thought for a while and said, combining the situation of the little devil and our own situation, I feel that if Brother Leng, you, me, and Nangong lead the team, it will be almost enough to bring 20,000 people. Hearing the words, he nodded coldly, then looked at Zhang Zongjun and said, Old Zhang, how do you feel? If 20,000 people are taken away, will you feel any pressure on Tianshu Island? Zhang Zongjun laughed and said, then what pressure is there? Phyllis Lot died in battle, Reese Duke's reputation plummeted, and the entire Eurasian Federation also lost at least 70,000 to 80,000 people this time. They will definitely not regroup the army of the Chosen to attack us. Hear Zhang Zongjun's words. He nodded coldly and said with a smile, that's no problem. Anyway, using your words, there is a high probability that the little devil will retreat without a fight this time. Then I will take 20,000 people to station directly in Yuhang Island. Okay, I'll mobilize early tomorrow morning to gather 20,000 people as soon as possible and set off as soon as possible, and the province will change. Zhang Zongjun said. Discuss things. The banquet is officially over. The 4 of them ate all the food on the table, even drank 5 bottles of wine. That is to say, the 4 people here have all been strengthened with king-level meat. And the wine wasn't topped. Slightly drunk but not too drunk. Early the next morning, Zhang Zongjun summoned all the soldiers of the army and asked everyone who would follow Qin Tian, Nangongla and Leng Lai to recover Yuang Island. As a result, I heard that I was going to fight the devils to recover Yuang Island. The more than 50,000 Yanlong Navy soldiers went crazy in an instant. They all expressed their willingness. Zhang Zongjun saw that this was not a good choice. Simply pick out the first 20,000 fighters who reported even numbers from the queue. The team is assembled, cold without delay. One order. He took Qin Tian, Nangongla, and 20,000 Yanlong Navy soldiers away from Tianshu Island, and sailed towards Yuang Island occupied by Little Devils. And just when Qin Tian followed Leng Lai to recover Yuang Island. In the world outside, an event that shocked countless people happened. That is, Qin Tian's wife and daughter were attacked. In the morning, Qin Tian's wife Mu Ningxie was driving to send her daughter Qin Xiaoxiao to school. On the way, the vehicle exploded. The violent explosion even affected dozens of families on both sides of the road. Those extremely strong vacuum bulletproof glass were even shattered. Not to mention the surrounding cars and pedestrians. There was a broken limb at the scene. More than a dozen or 20 cars were completely scrapped by the impact of the terrorist blast. Some were overturned directly and exploded more than 10 meters away. This shows how powerful the bomb installed on the car is. If it weren't for the mother and daughter, they are now the gods of the cruiser level. At the moment of the bomb explosion, the cruiser level shield is automatically issued by the Battleship imprint to automatically protect the master. I'm afraid this wave of explosions can really hurt the two of them. And such a vile attack instantly touched the nerves of everyone in the Zhongzhou military headquarters. They can still remember clearly. Back then, when the plundering squad of alien creatures invaded Zhongzhou. It was Mu Ningxie who stepped forward and waved and killed the airships of more than 100 alien creatures. It can be said that if it were not for Mu Ningxie, their Zhongzhou is estimated to be in ruins long ago. Millions of human beings will be taken captive to starships of ragtag shape. Like those fruits, they are thrown into the bio-extractor and crushed to extract bioenergy. It can be said that Mu Ningxie has saved everyone in Zhongzhou. However, now someone is actually offering a reward of 1 billion. And this is only one aspect. The most important thing is that these two are the two people Qin Tian cares most about in this world, in case something happens. Are the consequences worth it? Although it has long been known that the Lot family has offered a bounty of 1 billion to the mother and daughter in the dark world. For this reason, their Zhongzhou military department also carried out the highest level of all-weather protection. But they never imagined that someone could plant a bomb on a car right under their noses. Isn't this Kai Guo's slap in the face of their Zhongzhou military department? How will the higher-ups see them then? What would Qin Tian think of them in World of Warships? Putting Mu Ningxie in Zhongzhou, is Mu Ningxie protecting them? Or are they protecting Mu Ningxie? So the boss of the Zhongzhou military department was completely angry. Not only ordered the closure of all import and export channels throughout Zhongzhou. At the same time, a criminal investigation team with the most professional skills was organized to investigate the scene. Have to say, a team that can be called a top-notch technology does have a few brushes. One of the women quickly confirmed one thing with clues. The bomb didn't explode inside the car. It was detonated by remote control in the sewer when Mu Ningxie drove past a sewer. That is to say, when the incident happened, the perpetrator is not far from here. According to this clue, the Zhongzhou military department immediately gave the criminal investigation team the maximum authority to handle the case. All monitoring can be adjusted at will. All departments must obey unconditionally. And it turns out, when the city lord's mansion of a city is fully operating for a certain matter, the ability that erupted was simply beyond everyone's expectations. The perpetrator detonated the bomb in the morning. In the afternoon, he was arrested and brought to justice by a special force composed of all the gods. At first, the man was stubborn and refused to admit it. But when it comes to matters on Qin Tian's head, the city lord's mansion of Zhongzhou also lost the tolerance it had in the past. Directly use professionals to interrogate with special means. It didn't take long for the other party to confess all his crimes crying. Details including the purchase of powerful bombs from a middleman in the dark world were also revealed. The boss of the Zhongzhou military department naturally has no good temper. The perpetrator was taken into custody. According to the clues provided by the other party, the special team of the gods went directly to arrest the middleman in the dark world. 39%. Chapter 195. Angry Mu Ningxie. According to the clues provided by the other party, The special forces of the gods came to a detached villa in a high-end villa community to arrest them. As a result, after rushing in, they found that the villa was already empty. The divinely blessed special forces immediately contacted the headquarters and started reporting. The headquarters ordered it to investigate with all its strength. Be sure to make catches in short order. And Mu Ningxie, because this time it involved Qin Xiaoxiao's safety. The more I thought about it, the more angry I became. Temporarily entrusted her daughter to Li Changxi, the head teacher of the little girl, after taking care of her. She drove directly to the building of the Zhongzhou military department. She proposed that she hoped that the military department would let her know after finding out the branches of the dark world in the Yanlong Empire. In her words, it is, you can shoot her. There is always a solution to a problem. But if she takes action against her daughter, she will use her last breath to destroy the other party's entire family. For Mu Ningxui's request, the Zhongzhou military department naturally agreed. After all, this is already a major who has been officially honored by them anyway. Of course, our own people want to help our own people. And after 3 days of continuous in-depth investigation by the special team of the gods, in the end, the target was locked in a bar named Golden and Brilliant. But because he was worried that the opponent had a more powerful bomb in his hand, the gods' blessed special forces didn't act in a hurry. After discussing it, they decided to apply to the headquarters to invite Mu Ningxie over. With the strength that can crush the power of battleships, it is estimated that even if the mushroom head with a small equivalent explodes, it can be suppressed forcibly. And Mu Ningxie didn't have any ink marks after receiving the message. Called Li Changxi directly to explain the situation. Changxi, I might be late after school in the afternoon, why don't you take Xiaoxiao to your home first? I'll pick her up when I get back. Mu Ningxie said on the phone. Recently, her relationship with Li Changxi is getting better and better. There is a faint tendency to become girlfriends. So even Qin Xiaoxiao received a lot of care from the other party. Okay, Xiaoxiao, you don't have to worry about it. Be careful yourself. I will take Xiaonizi home and make some delicious food. After eating, I will help her with her homework. Li Changxi readily agreed. Haha, thank you then. Come back and treat you to a big meal. After speaking, Mu Ningxie hung up the phone, driving the Yanqi SUV that the military department reissued to her. 1 foot of the accelerator came to the Golden and Splendid bar. Oh, Major Mu, you're here. It's that bar. We've seen the suspect come in and out several times today. Seeing Mu Ningxie coming, several members of the God's Blessed Special Forces immediately called her into the car. Is that guy in there now? Mu Ningxie asked. Yes, I just came back 10 minutes ago. Someone replied immediately. Then what are you waiting for? Go in and find that guy, and leave the rest to me. Mu Ningxie stared at the door of the bar and said coldly. Okay, just wait for your words, Major. A group of people finished speaking, immediately scattered into the bar. And Mu Ningxie followed closely behind. Not long after, there was commotion on the second floor of the bar. Then a man in his 40s, wearing a long-sleeved trench coat, ran down the stairs with a bomb in his hand. Stand back, everyone backs off, you're cornering me, I'll just detonate it and everyone will die together, do you believe it or not? The middle-aged man opened his eyes wide and angry, and said angrily. Don't make unnecessary resistance. You are surrounded by us now. Obediently, you will be captured and cooperate with our investigation. If you are stubborn, then don't blame us and kill you on the spot. A member of the God's favored special forces shouted with stern pressure. Don't come here, I'll really detonate if I come here again, then not only will I die, but you and this 10-story building will all have to be buried with me. Laugh. But at this moment, a dazzling golden light flashed. A mini cruiser on Mu Ningxui's head appeared in front of the man in an instant. With one hand, he directly snatched the bomb from the opponent's hand. The other hand pinched the opponent's neck easily and lifted him up. After putting the bomb in his hand into his pocket indifferently, Mu Ningxie grabbed the man's windbreaker and pulled it lightly. The windbreaker was torn off directly like tearing toilet paper. Check to see if there are any other bombs in here. Mu Ningxie said calmly. When the Special Forces members heard the words, they immediately started searching. After a few searches, I found a few C4 plastic bombs in my inner pocket. 0. Seeking flowers. See this scene. Mu Ningxie narrowed her eyes coldly and said, call the headquarters, I want to know what kind of relatives this man has in each generation. If there are any, bring them to the playground of the headquarters. Yes, feel Mu Ningshui's cold-killing intent. Several Special Forces members did not dare to disobey, and immediately took a photo of the man. Then let headquarters start identifying the man. And query all its relatives. At first, the man was very stubborn. Facing Mu Ningshui's choke neck, she blushed and said nothing. But the headquarters is very powerful. Soon all the information about the man was found. And sent it to Li Yao, the captain of the Special Forces. Major Mu, this man's name is Kong Jung. He is 45 years old this year. He was the manager of a foreign trade company 7 years ago. After resigning, he started a small foreign trade company. Although the scale is small, the income is very impressive. And this man's only wife and daughter are at the lighthouse. He, don't waste your efforts. Even if you catch me, at most you will kill me directly. Anyway, I have lived enough in this F-King world, and I have almost earned the money that should be earned. With this money, my wife and daughter are happy enough to live abroad, so I am not afraid of you. Hearing that, Li Yao picked up his identity information. The man looked at Mu Ningxie proudly and said arrogantly. Just when Mu Ningxie clenched her silver teeth, thinking about breaking the man's neck directly. I heard Li Yao continue to say, there is another behind Major Mu. 5 years ago, this man raised a senior girl in our Zhongzhou B. After graduation, she gave birth to a son for him. Every Saturday night here every week will secretly go to the lover's place. I don't know what you are talking about. I am absolutely loyal to my wife and my family. Do you believe that I will sue you for slander? Hear Li Yao's words. An imperceptible panic flashed in the man's eyes, but he covered it up in an instant. But this cannot escape Mu Ningxie, who has worked hard in the workplace for many years. With a bottom in mind, she pondered for a moment. After a while, he said directly to Li Yao, take the mother and son to the shooting range of the military headquarters, and I want to see what the son born by this man looks like. Don't waste your efforts, that's not my son at all, I only have a daughter. The man spoke disdainfully to Mu Ningxie. 39%. Chapter 196. Either tell me the stronghold, or use your son to set off fireworks. It's up to you whether it has anything to do with you or not. Mu Ningxie was not angry at the man's disdain. Just said lightly, I will find the best medical staff to give you a paternity test. If not, I will naturally let them go, but if it is. Mu Ningxie looked up at the man with cold eyes and said, if it is, then I will tie all the bombs on your body to your son and your lover, and let you watch them being blown to pieces with your own eyes. As soon as the man heard this, the cheeks where the teeth were biting suddenly bulged. Visible streaks of scarlet blood appeared in the two eyes. Mu Ningxie, as a soldier, how can you take your anger out on an innocent child? He's only 3 years old. If you do this, are you worthy of your military uniform and your conscience? Besides, I'm just a middleman. It's not like I bombed you and your daughter. Kong Jung gritted his teeth and said tremblingly, don't tell me what's there or what's not. I'm not a full-time soldier. Do you think I'll let that bastard who attacked our mother and daughter go? Facing Kang Jung's moral kidnapping, Mu Ningxie replied unceremoniously, furthermore, if it weren't for your dark world to issue this reward and provide this kind of contraband, where can the other parties, 610 office, get it? Such a powerful bomb. I even suspect that the man's sophisticated attack plan was planned for him by you. In short, this thing started because of your dark world. If you did it in the first day of junior high school, then don't blame me for being 15th, don't even think about it for any of your families. No, you can't do this, my child is innocent. Hear Mu Ningxui's words. Then look at the other party's sinister eyes. Kong Jung panicked immediately. Because he realized that the other party was obviously not joking when he said this. This is really planning to use the bomb on his body to blow up his young son. However, facing his words, Mu Ningxie said with a sneer, to be honest, I have been waiting for the past 2 days, just to see who will bump into me without fear of death, so that I can make an example to others. I didn't expect your attack to come. That's just right, I will use the lives of your family to tell everyone, whoever dares to touch our mother and daughter, then be prepared for me to destroy his whole family. I have to say, from this point, I still have to thank you very much. Quote. As she said that, Mu Ningxui's mouth curled into a heartwarming smile. But at this moment, Kong Jung couldn't think of any other thoughts at all. There is only endless fear in my mind. At this moment, he was really scared. What the hell? Who on earth reported that Qin Tian's wife is gentle and kind? If this is also called gentleness and kindness, then there is no such idiom as femme fatale in this world, right? At this moment, Kong Jung couldn't help but regretted that he hadn't retreated bravely from the big muddy pit of the gloomy world in time. What the hell, I should have taken advantage of the alien army's invasion the year before last to hide with my lover and son incognito. This is just great. At that time, I thought about earning a few more years. As a result, something big happened right away. He doesn't care much about his wives and daughters abroad. But the son he got in his 40s has always been his heart and soul. And at this moment, Li Yao pressed his headset with his hand. Then he said to Mu Ningxie, Major Mu, we have found his lover and his son, and they are being picked up by our people in the car to head to the headquarters. Killed by us directly on the spot. Hear this. Kong Jung's pupils contracted sharply, his face turned pale instantly, and his heart was ashamed. Can't go wrong. Those who arranged to protect the mother and child were the four gods. And Mu Ningxie nodded. He grabbed Kong Jung's neck and walked out. While walking, he said to Li Yao, give me those C4 plastic bombs, and seal up this bar by the way, and take all the staff working here back to investigate and check every corner inside. In order to avoid this, the guy still has a bomb on him, so I just flew back. Li Yao nodded to express his understanding. Handed 5 or 6 plastic bombs to Mu Ningxie. After Mu Ningxie put it away. Just like that, he pinched Kong Jung and walked out of the bar. Then there was a thought. The cruiser above the head quickly became larger. Soon it recovered into a behemoth with a length of nearly 200 meters in the sky. Then in the exclamation of countless people, Mu Ningxie grabbed Kong Jung's neck and soared into the sky. Stand on the deck of the cruiser and drive the cruiser to fly to the military headquarters. Come on, that was Goddess Qin's wife, Goddess Mu. Why did she come to our place to arrest someone? Oh, I don't understand anything just by looking at you. I heard all the conversation between Goddess Mu and that man just now. Goddess Mu and her daughter were attacked by terror 2 days ago, do you know? I know. Fortunately, the special forces were able to catch that utterly devoid of conscience. Yes, the city lord's mansion is still very powerful. If it weren't for Goddess Mu, we would have been captured by alien creatures to extract juice. How can we chat and fart here? I just heard the conversation between Goddess Mu and that man. It seems that the bomb that attacked Goddess Mu and her daughter was bought from that man. Obviously, Goddess Mu was very angry at her daughter being attacked like this and found the man. His lover and illegitimate child, he intends to let that man experience the feeling of his relatives being bombed to death. Ah, isn't this a bit too cruel? Go away. Why, according to what you say, one day your close relative is killed by someone, and you still want to buy some fruit to send to him as a thank you. It looks like 205. That's right, you have to use this method to deal with these inhuman guys, let them try their own methods. Support Goddess Mu. Miss Mu, I really know that I was wrong. You want to kill me and cut me up. I will let you deal with me, but my son is only 3 years old. You can't just kill him so cruelly. On the sky, seeing that the military building is getting closer and closer. Kong Jung finally couldn't take it anymore. Looking at Mu Ningxie said in a humble tone, almost pleading. This means that all the bombs on his body were searched by Mu Ningxie. Otherwise, he would desperately set off some fireworks for this woman. Although there is a high probability that it will not cause any harm to the opponent. But at least he died himself. After he dies, he doesn't have to worry about what's next. He glanced at Kong Jung. Mu Ningxie said very lightly, you have only 2 choices now. Either you watch your son and lover being blown to pieces by your bombs, and then you die, or you leave the dark world behind. All the branches of the Yanlong Empire told me that I can save their lives. When Kong Jung heard this, he immediately said with a sad face, but, Miss Mu, I really don't know. If I knew, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Mu Ningxie was unmoved, and said coldly, I will give you one last chance. If you don't cherish that moment, you are ready to appreciate your son setting off fireworks with these C4 bombs, I think I can make some graphics for him. Let your son choose which C4 to use for the fireworks. Maid, Mu Ningxie, you are still called a person. As soon as Kong Jung heard this, his eyes were bloodshot with anger. HMPH, I should have given you these words, right? Over the years, I don't know how many families have been separated by you in this way. You still have the face to say that I am just based on others. The way is to cure the person's body. Mu Ningxie was not moved at all, and said coldly. One sentence made Kong Jung speechless. Okay, here we are, not to mention just right. Let me see if you, a cold-blooded and ruthless executioner, will be so cold-blooded after seeing his son being blown to death by your bomb. With that said, Mu Ningxie drove the phantom of the battleship to the ground. It turned out that he had already arrived at the headquarters of the military department. In midair, a young girl in her 20s could be seen holding a child and standing tremblingly under the control of 4 soldiers with live ammunition. Son, see this scene. The man no longer lives in Bungbu. Giving up all struggles, he said dejectedly, I only know the strongholds of a few branches. I hope that after I tell you, you can really let my son go. Mu Ningxie didn't even look at him and said, that depends on whether the clues you provide are valuable. It is estimated that the creator of the Dark World did not expect to be killed. It was because of accepting the reward task from the Lot family. The more than 30 branch strongholds they had spent decades operating in the Yanlong Empire were wiped out in less than 2 months. A year later, even the headquarters was breached. Of course, these are things for later. And in World of Warships. After 5 or 6 days of sailing, Qin Tian finally saw a 5.5 huge island from a distance. Ha ha ha, Yuang Island, I'm Lengli and I'm back. On the deck of Tianlong, he raised his hands coldly and shouted loudly, as if to shout out all the gloom in my heart this year. Hey, Brother Leng, it seems that the situation is a bit wrong. Why didn't you see a little devil's patrol ship around Yuang Island? And at this moment, Nangongla suddenly realized something was wrong. Asked, hearing the cold expression, his expression changed. Immediately ran back to the control room. After 2 minutes, he walked out with a look of anger and unwillingness. Facing the 2 people who seemed to have already guessed something in their hearts, they said, damn you, you have already abandoned the island and escaped. There are only a dozen warships on the island at the moment, and they may be some pirates wandering around this sea area. Occupied. Although there have been speculations. But after hearing the cold statement, Qin Tian still couldn't help but let out a sigh of disappointment. He originally thought that by sinking the battleship of about 700 little devils, he would be able to unlock the title of warlord. As a result, the little devil came and fled without a fight. It can be said that Qin Tian's plan was directly aborted. 39%. Chapter 197. The difference between you and the Zarer people. TMD, the kid in the broadcast room must have guessed it when he saw our army dispatched. Leng Lai shook his head regretfully and said, now that the army of the little devils has retreated. That's nothing to be careful about. Leng Lai, Qin Tian, and Nangongla led the 20,000 Yanlong Navy and rushed towards Yuang Island. The pirates occupying it are obviously NPCs. There was no communication, no begging for mercy. After a round of shelling, the opponent's more than a dozen gunboats and frigates were all sunk. Coldly arranged 5,000 people to drive warships to patrol around Yuang Island in the sea 30 kilometers away. Another 10,000 people searched for material barrels and treasure chests in the nearby waters. And he, Qin Tian and Nangongla led the remaining 5,000 people to the island for investigation. Waiting for Qin Tian to follow Leng Lai onto Yuang Island. The scene that caught his eyes immediately made him dumbfounded. There are ruins everywhere. All the wooden houses were burned clean. The stone house was demolished in pieces. The fertile land that has been reclaimed on the island is also ravaged and difficult to replant. Damn it, these little devils are really evil. After seeing this scene, Leng Lai was almost shuddering with anger. When he was stationed on Yuang Island, he was attacked by the fleet of the Eurasian Federation. Seeing that they were invincible, they had no choice but to retreat quickly with vitality. So everything on the island was intact at the time. It's not like it is now. Brother Leng, it's okay, I want to open it up, at least Yuang Island is back in our hands. Hearing cold low curses, Qin Tian patted his shoulder and comforted him. Well, that's right, at least Yuang Island has returned to our hands. That's enough. As for the reconstruction work, it's almost enough to open the boxes nearby. Was persuaded by Qin Tian. Leng Lai, who had calmed down, laughed again and said, more than 5,000 people searched the island for a whole afternoon. After confirming again and again that there is no problem. Only then did Leng Lai call back the 5,000 Yanlong Navy to clean up the entire island. And Qin Tian saw that there was no problem here. Immediately bid farewell to Leng Lai and Nangongla. With his crew ready to go on a treasure hunt expedition on the sea. He held his shoulder coldly and said, okay, you boy will be a person who will do great things in the future, and it is really a shame to trap you on this island. But although you are very powerful now, you still need to pay more attention to your safety at sea. After all, 2 fists are hard to fight with 4 hands, so be careful not to fall into the enemy's ambush. You bring these 2 bottles of wine. If you have nothing to do, have a drink by yourself, and you can satisfy your hunger. Quote. Talking. Lang Lai asked Nangong to fetch 2 bottles of Xingtai wine. Okay, I've written down Brother Lang's instructions, and I won't drink this alcohol. I'm not addicted to alcohol at all, let alone something wrong with drinking. You'd better keep drinking by yourself. Jian Langley directly took 2 bottles of wine for himself. Qin Tian was a little moved. After hammering the opponent's chest hard, he said with a smile. The welcome banquet was over that day. Lang Lai only had 6 bottles of Xingtai wine left. Zhang Zongjun extorted 2 bottles when he left. The other party who only had 4 bottles left was willing to give half of it to himself. It can be seen that there is a strong appreciation for him. Then grab a bottle, it's fine to have a drink now and then. In the end, Lang forced a bottle to Qin Tian. Qin Tian didn't refuse anymore. After saying goodbye to each other in Nangongla, he took his battleship and left under the salute of countless Yanlong Navy. Deck. The star station in Qin Tian's hand. Looking at Yuang Island, which is getting farther and farther away, under the bright moonlight. There was a faint smile on the corner of his mouth. Although this time because of his own reasons, a large-scale naval battle between the Eurasian Federation and the Yanlong Navy was inexplicably triggered. But anyway, the result is acceptable. Phyllis, the biggest careerist in the lighthouse, died in battle. The reputation of Reese Duke, the first person in the lighthouse, has plummeted. The 4 islands together caused the Eurasian Federation to sacrifice about 70,000 to 80,000 gods chosen. This blow should calm the Eurasian Federation a bit in the near future. And as for himself, unlocked 6 battlefield titles. The attributes have been greatly increased, not to mention. The materials obtained on the battlefield alone are enough to make him happy. With a thought, he opened the data backpack. It can be seen that the 3 types of warship upgrade materials commonly used above are a long string of numbers. Low quality wood, 560,021. Common wood, 127,339. 91,642. Inferior metal sheet, 371,752. Ordinary metal sheet, 48,234. Excellent metal sheet, 52,438. Inferior plastic, 152,287. 32,995. 70,307. These are the trophies he got from killing the warships of the Eurasian Federation on the battlefield. Not much to say, but he only needs to collect about 200,000 low-quality plastics to upgrade the small cruiser to a medium-sized one. What are you thinking about so happy? My lord captain. And at this moment, a magnetic voice sounded from behind. Qin Tian knew who was coming without turning his head. Rui, our battleship may be upgraded to a mid-level cruiser in a few days. Qin Tian looked at the sparkling sea surface illuminated by the moonlight. Then he said with a smile, you are the only one here who has fought against the 3 major civilizations invading the universe. Do you think our battleships have a chance to fight against the Zarians when they are upgraded to battleships? Qin Tian suddenly thought about the Zarer people. Immediately asked curiously, Your Excellency, Captain, do you want to hear the truth or some comforting words? Rui smiled and didn't answer the question. Of course it's the truth. I want to know the gap between our civilization and theirs. Qin Tian said seriously, nodded. Rui's expression also became a little more serious, and then he said to 533, I have also seen the strength of the warships of your generation, Captain, during this period of time. To be honest, Captain, I am very disappointed in my heart. Qin Tian didn't speak, just looked at each other quietly. In the past 2 days, I have also heard some things about the world you originally lived in, Captain. Let me tell you this, according to the strength of your battleships. The difference in strength between you and the warships of the Zarians is probably the difference between the war technology of your original world and the technology of the alien creatures that invaded your world. Hear what Rui said. Qin Tian's heart sank immediately. You mean we don't have the gap we had before we entered World of Warships? He couldn't help asking. Yes, the current world of yours is the pre-nuclear era where nuclear energy has not been used for many years. Apart from mushroom bombs, there are no other lethal weapons that can be used. Rui nodded, affirming Qin Tian's thoughts. Then he continued. You are in the world of source number, oh, that is what you call World of Warships now. Your battleships in battleships are actually equivalent to the mushroom bombs in your world. After all the shipboard armaments are replaced with higher quality armaments, it may cause some barely reasonable damage to the warships of the Zarare people, but those ordinary quality equipment may not be as good as hitting your opponent for 10 rounds. Hi. Of course, Captain, your battleship is an anomaly, that doesn't count. Quote. 39%. Chapter 198. Is this not just World of Warships, but the entire universe? Here's such an outrageous gap. Qin Tian was also speechless. Immediately he was a little discouraged and said, the gap is so big, so what's the point of fighting? At that time, more than 1 million gods chosen will be brutally tortured by 100,000 warships. The fate of being beaten to death. Seeing that Qin Tian was hit, Rui immediately said, I'm talking about battleships. Captains, don't you have an aircraft carrier level? That should be more powerful than battleships, right? Qin Tian nodded when he heard the words, and said, in terms of strike strength, aircraft carriers are indeed stronger than battleships. The main attack method of an aircraft carrier is the carrier-based fighter jets carried on it. Normally, an aircraft carrier with a displacement of more than 100,000 tons can carry about 70 to 90 fighter jets. If these nearly 100 fighter jets were dispatched to launch an attack together, the missiles, cannons, and bombs would be more powerful than battleships. But if you want to upgrade to an aircraft carrier, I think it's good to have 10 people out of a million chosen this year. And will the Zarul give us enough time? Hearing Qin Tian's worry, Rui smiled and said, Captain, don't worry, no matter how high the technological level of the Zarare people is, it is still difficult for them to achieve the same level of crushing, and they will be afraid of human sea battles. Because they also have to abide by the data laws of this universe. At most, the technology in their world is advanced, and the equipment manufactured is easy to produce some high-quality equipment. Quote. Hearing this, Qin Tian's eyes were full of doubts, the law of data in the universe. Rui nodded and said, yes, Captain, you heard me right. Not just our world. The most basic law of this universe is the law of data. It is the highest law that every biological civilization needs to abide by and cannot avoid. So Captain, as long as your battleship has enough HP and high enough defense, it will be no problem even if you forcibly resist the attack of their thousands of starships. And the most important thing is, apart from our source number world, all other civilized creatures in this universe cannot awaken their innate skills, which is also the main reason why we were able to defeat the Wang Da civilization invasion in the first place. Quote. When Qin Tian heard this, he suddenly lost his mind. The entire universe is actually a digital universe. Other civilizations still can't awaken talent skills. But it's not right, then why can the gods in our world fly into the sky and escape from the earth? Qin Tian asked in amazement as if he suddenly thought of something. Rui smiled and said, this is the special feature of our world, the planetary will of other civilizations can only follow the laws set by this universe obediently. But our planetary will is somehow very active. Not only can you communicate with people sometimes, even find another way, deduce new laws in your own world. There were a group of such people in our world back then. It's just that they are all self-awakened blood warriors. With the assistance of some exercises and medicines, he can crack gold stones with his fists and tear ordinary small warships with his hands. But even such a powerful fighter cannot break through the atmosphere and enter outer space. There have been warriors who took a starship and went out in a spacesuit to try. As soon as they leave this planet, their cultivation power will disappear immediately, and they will be reduced to an ordinary person whose physique is only slightly stronger than that of a normal adult. After many experiments, we came to a conclusion. That is, this special power should be a partial law deduced by the will of our planet in a circle, and it is not accepted by this universe. So these powers are only available on our own planet. Once out of the interstellar outer space, it will be useless. Therefore, we generally use those warriors to guard our homes. But there is one thing to say. Those top fighters still have two brushes. When the warships of the Zarians invaded our world at that time, many high-quality warriors teamed up to destroy several medium-sized starships. But overall, they can only guard their homes and cannot go out of outer space, so they cannot be on the stage. Quote. Can't make it to the stage. Hear what Rui said. Qin Tian split open directly. That's a warrior. It was actually said that he couldn't get on the stage. But think about it. Qin Tian soon felt relieved again. Even without pork, he has read a lot of online articles before, hasn't he seen a pig running? This law of the universe seems to have only one law of digitization. One rule takes them all. No matter how active the will of the planet he is on is. It is also impossible for her to fight against the environment of the entire universe. So being able to innovate to this extent is already pretty good. In this way, even if I have the ability to travel to the stars, my wife and daughter will still not be able to go out to outer space in the world I live in, right? Can't go to outer space. That proves that his wife and daughter are still unable to be with him. It should be like this. After all, our Chengxing Empire was also the strongest civilization in the entire Yuanyang galaxy at the beginning. It did not give back the star power to the planet's will, but that didn't allow the planet's will to deduce the warriors to break through the limit, let alone now. The planet's willpower is greatly damaged. Ray shrugged. This is really some secrets beyond my expectation. Qin Tian said with some sighs. Immediately, he picked up the bottle of Xingtai wine and said, "How about it, let's have some barbecue. This wine is pretty good." Unexpectedly, Rui just glanced at it, then shook his head and said, "What kind of good wine is this?" "Xingtai wine. It was cheap wine made by the merchants of the Chengxing Empire by mixing water for the lower class civilians at that time. Don't drink." Hear this. Qin Tian was a little stunned in an instant. The descendants of these powerful families. In the other party's mouth, the wine with such a good taste turned out to be only the wine mixed with water that only the third-class civilians could drink. If Leng Lai hears this, I'm afraid that he will have dozens of knives in his heart. "Oh, you guys are really boring," Qin Tian said, somewhat dumbfounded. But then he still thanked the other party and said, "Rui, thank you for telling me this, at least let me know the gap between me and the Zarer people now, and I have a clear goal for the future." Rui nodded and said nothing more. After patting Qin Tian's shoulder, he turned and left. And Qin Tian stood on the deck at the bow of the ship Wang Jiaohao. Looking up at the night sky as deep and vast as a sea of stars. The light in the eyes also gradually became deeper. After a long time, it turned out that it was not just world of warships. Rather, the law of the entire universe is the law of datization. This is really more interesting than he imagined. He can already imagine what kind of life will happen when I set foot in outer space in the future. I'm afraid the probability is still the same. Drive a battleship around the starry sky to find supplies, let's get close. But back then he was driving a starship. After shaking his head speechlessly, Qin Tian immediately turned his head and walked towards his rest cabin. Starting tomorrow, he will try his best to upgrade his battleship as soon as possible. Take a shower and lie on the bed. Just when Qin Tian was thinking about something, suddenly, a private message notification sounded in my mind. Qin Tian thought it was Leng Lai or Zhang Zongjun. It turned out to be Vanessa after opening it. 39%. Chapter 199 The Secret of the Eurasian Capital Family, the opportunity to double the attributes of the aircraft carrier. Qin Shen, I just saw a message in our national chat channel that may be very important to you. See this message from Vanessa. A series of question marks flashed in Qin Tian's head. He couldn't help sending a message to ask, "What information?" "I saw someone saying that your wife and daughter were attacked in this world. It seems that in this world, the Lauder family has issued a huge reward of 1 billion for the lives of your wife and daughter." Swish. See this message. Qin Tian sat up from the wooden bed in an instant. The fierce light in his eyes flourished. The Lauder family. You guys are looking for death. Did they say how my wife and daughter are doing? Are they okay? Qin Tian hurriedly asked Vanessa. Seeing Qin Tian, who has always been calm, and the mountain collapsed on top of the mountain without chaos, unexpectedly showed such nervous emotions. Vanessa felt a sour feeling in her heart for no reason. I don't know either. They didn't elaborate, and they only know a rough idea depending on the situation. Qin Tian took a deep breath. Send a message to the other party. Thank you, Vanessa, this message is really important to me. Finished. Qin Tian closed the private chat with her. After thinking for a while, he directly opened Zhang Zongjun's profile picture. General Zhang, do you know what is going on with my wife? How did I hear that the Lot family offered a bounty on my wife and daughter for 8.5 billion in the dark world? It was quite a while after Qin Tian sent the message. Zhang Zongjun just came back with the message. You know everything, kid. Don't be impulsive to find the Lot family alone. I dare not tell you because I am afraid that you will send it to your door on impulse. Don't worry, your wife has already solved the problem that the other party posed to her, and now it is your wife who is posing the problem to the other party. Qin Tian frowned when he saw this. What's the meaning? What does it mean that Mu Ningxue is giving the other party a problem? Suddenly Qin Tian thought of Mu Ningxue's doting on his daughter. A smile couldn't help but appear on the corner of his mouth. When I was worried, I was really confused. He has the strength to beat the battleship level. Those who are their own gods. Ordinary small equivalent mushroom bombs probably wouldn't be able to deal with the mother and daughter. Just how strong are those who can't see the light in the dark world? Certainly did not cause any harm to his wife and daughter. Thinking of this, Qin Tian couldn't help asking with a smile. The culprit who attacked their mother and daughter was killed by Ning Shui. Zhang Zongjun. It's more than just extermination. After your wife found out the middleman in the dark world who sold him the bomb, she went directly to the door and asked the special forces to tie up the other party's lover and illegitimate child to the military headquarters in Zhongzhou. At 1 o'clock, let the other party's 3-year-old son choose bombs and set off fireworks by himself. In the end, it was the old middleman who got his son, and he was really reluctant to let his son die, so he confessed several middlemen in the dark world in the major cities of the Yanlong Empire. In the past few days, your wife has left early and returned late every day, and has already destroyed 6 secret strongholds arranged by the dark world in our Yanlong Empire. And your wife seems to have found more new clues from the person in charge of those strongholds, and may continue to destroy them. Qin Tian couldn't help laughing out loud when he saw this. Very good. This is very Mu Ningxie. If the dark world just picked Mu Ningxie alone. After the failure, Mu Ningxie may be more vigilant. But never do such a radical act. But the other party actually involved even Xiao Xiao. Then don't blame your wife for being cruel. Think here. Qin Tian sent a message to Zhang Zongjun. General, please help me with a message to my wife. Let her go boldly to investigate. It would be better if all the strongholds of those grandsons can be pulled out. As for the Lot family, don't worry about her. I will come here. Time will help her let out a sigh of relief. See Qin Tian's words. Zhang Zongjun's forehead was immediately filled with black lines. You kid didn't take my words to heart at all. Zhang Zongjun said helplessly. Although you have sunk the battleship owned by the Lot family Phyllis, as a veteran force that has dominated the world of warships for more than 2 years, do you think they are really that weak? You must know that our Yanlong Navy's supplies harvested in a day, throwing away miscellaneous items, can leave tens of thousands of supplies in total. Do you think their big capitalist families will be inferior? That's what Zhang Zongjun said. Agged. Qin Tian's mind immediately became slightly vigilant. General Zhang, you mean, those families hide their strength? Think again. This is indeed the case. No one reminded. Everyone really missed this question. Those big capitalist families don't have to be rewarded for meritorious service like the military, and there is an equal distribution route for life if there is a penalty. They were originally made by oppression. Most of the people who serve them are used to the master taking the lead, and they follow the rule of only drinking 1 sip of soup. In this case, not to mention the supplies of an aircraft carrier in 2 years. It's just 2 aircraft carriers, and those big capitalists are probably out of it. But why do these big capitalist families in the Eurasian Federation do this collectively? Think about it carefully. Qin Tian couldn't help but think carefully and fear. These capital tycoons can obviously consume resources to build 1 or even 2 aircraft carriers. But for a certain unknown secret, not only did they not involve themselves. On the contrary, a unified caliber was reached to suppress the upgrade of the aircraft carrier together. This is the scariest thing. When several big forces would rather sacrifice their immediate interests for the same purpose, or even prefer to do it at a loss. Then it shows that the reward for them is definitely a benefit of 1 + 1 greater than 3. But, has anything like this happened in the past? Several major capitalist families in the Eurasian Federation reaped huge things at the same time. Presumably it shouldn't be hidden, right? How come he has no memory at all? Just when Qin Tian was thinking hard, Zhang Zongjun sent him a message. Last year, I got a piece of news by chance that I don't know if it's true or not. I heard that there are several god-level islands with magical abilities in this world of warships. If any of them is occupied, the chosen one can find a treasure chest of creation-level objects of the corresponding level of the current battleship from the center of the island. It seems that after upgrading the battleship after equipping these items, all attributes of the battleship will be doubled. Boom. See this sentence. Qin Tian's mind suddenly seemed to be struck by lightning. A stroke of inspiration crossed the line. A message that he only saw once in the chat channel by accident in his previous life appeared in his mind. The content is probably envious of Phyllis Lot, who discovered a god-level treasure island to the east of the Pirate King dungeon. Now that Phyllis upgrades the aircraft carrier, he is afraid that he will truly rule the world. At that time, after Qin Tian read this message several times, he still wondered what kind of weird speech this person made. Phyllis Lott has long been a top player in World of Warships, okay. But now I think about it in combination with Zhang Zongjun's information. Only then did he understand the meaning of this message. After upgrading to an aircraft carrier, all attributes will be doubled. Isn't this a powerful force that really dominates one side? How many years did he see this speech in his last life? Qin Tian thought about it carefully. It seems to be at the end of next year. He died not long after the beginning of the third year. So I can remember the time clearly. Think about it this way. Qin Tian's heart suddenly became excited. 40%. Chapter 200. Is it going to be extremely hot again? Think of the effect of the things in the treasure chest on the god-level treasure island. Qin Tian's heart is full of deep interest. Isn't this a fetish specially made for him? How much would it be if his current attributes were doubled directly? Wrong. What he wants to do is the same as that of Phyllis and the others in the previous life. Wait until the battleship becomes a large battleship. We will only go to that island when we are ready to break through into an aircraft carrier. Only in this way can his interests be maximized. When his battleship becomes a battleship, the attributes are naturally much more than his current cruiser. Then, according to the attributes of the battleship, it will be directly increased by 2 times. That blood volume should not be more than 10 or 200,000. The attack power should not be around 8 or 900,000. If the defense power is less, it will cost 3 or 4,000, right? Hiss. Think here. Qin Tian himself couldn't help but sucked in a breath of cold air. Abnormal. It's too perverted. At that time, maybe he can really do what Rui said. His own battleship directly dragged thousands of starships from the Zurians. No, I have to upgrade the battleship to a large battleship as soon as possible. If such a good opportunity is given to the Lot family first, then I have nowhere to cry. Think here. He immediately sent a message to Zhang Zongjun. It turns out that this is the case. It seems that this matter is almost inseparable. That General Zhang, you can help me bring the first half of the sentence to my wife, and you can change the second half to wait for me to take off. You must help her avenge her daughter. Zhang Zongjun said so when he saw Qin Tian. Immediately he smiled gratifiedly. Oh, that's right, let's not be impulsive when doing something, and think about the best solution before making a conclusion. Your words will be brought to me as they are. Your wife has made such a big commotion. You must ensure your own safety in the world of warships now. Otherwise, once your daughter-in-law loses her mind asylum of the power of the favored one, you should understand what that means. I saw this message from Zhang Zongjun. Qin Tian's pupils shrank violently. Really, he has to be more cautious in the next evolutionary path. Before occupying the god-level treasure island and breaking through into an aircraft carrier with double attributes, he must no longer be led by the nose by those devils from the Eurasian Federation. Like before, the other party attacked the 4 islands of Beidou. He was forced to go to the rescue. That is to be led by the nose by the other party. If it weren't for the live broadcast room, the coordinates of the sea area where the battleship is located would not be displayed. He estimated that he would die hundreds of times. And because of his wife's tough methods, if he is done playing, even with the full protection of the Yanlong army, Mu Ningxie and Qin Xiaoxiao, who have turned back to ordinary people, may also find it difficult to escape the retaliatory assassination of the Dark World and the Lot family. Shook his head. After repeatedly assuring Zhang Zongjun that he would not act recklessly, he just closed the private chat interface. Not long after lying in bed, he fell asleep. The next day, Qin Tian got up early in the morning to take a shower. After washing up, he came to the dining room. Looking at the 2 figures who were busy in the kitchen, Qin Tian shouted to Ma Yongganian, Old Ma, how is the water supply going? Some time ago he was mentioned by Zhang Zongjun. Every day, 1,000 empty plastic bottles are prepared in advance and placed in the restaurant. Then when Ma Yongganian or Yu Hai was not busy, the 2 of them would pick up the water. This is not only effective, and it saved him a lot of time. Ah, it's done, Captain, it's all in the front. Hear Qin Tian's inquiry. Ma Yongganian hurried out. He pointed to a corner of the restaurant in front and said. Qin Tian walked over to have a look. A large piece of water bottles full of water is lying on the ground. After nodding and saying, hard work, Qin Tian opened Zhang Zongjun's profile picture and started sending messages to him. General Zhang, replace 1,000 bottles of water with plastic. Okay, no problem, wait for me to pick up the supplies. See each other's information. Qin Tian also sat at the dining table and waited quietly. It's just that Zhang Zongjun sent him another message right after. The temperature has risen significantly today, and it may be extremely hot. You should be more careful on the sea. Extreme heat. Seeing this message, Qin Tian was slightly taken aback. But he replied right away. All right, General Zhang, I will pay attention. He didn't care about the extremely hot weather. His battleship has Genesis-class central air conditioning. Even if it's 100 degrees hot outside, he can also take his crew through this wave of extreme weather comfortably. After a while, Zhang Zongjun sent him a transaction application. After opening, he put the water on the ground, no more, no less, exactly 1,000 bottles. And the other party also put 130,000 units of low-quality plastic on it. After the transaction is completed, chatted with each other for a few more words. Zero asked for flowers. Qin Tian immediately went to the warehouse curry and piled the 130,000 units of low-quality plastics he had traded in. If you look at it this way, another day, he's almost ready to upgrade the cruiser to this level, even with his ability to make money. The speed of upgrading warships also couldn't help but slow down. After putting away the plastic, Qin Tian returned to the restaurant again. Bowls of moss dragon broth were already served on the dining table. Several bowls are cut into pieces of grilled octopus. At this time, Rui, Yaolang and Ma Fei also walked in one after another. Yaolang and Ma Fei greeted Qin Tian as soon as they came in. Sit at the table. Yu Dai suddenly said to Qin Tian, Captain, when Lao Ma and I were maintaining the guns on the deck this morning, I felt that the weather this morning was much hotter than before. Is there extreme weather? Zero. Hearing what Yu Hai said, Ma Yongganian on the side also nodded, it's really hot today. Yao Lang and Ma Fei also echoed, it's also a good thing that you equipped us with an air conditioner, Captain, and we can't feel it in the control room. Once we leave the control room, we feel that the air is hot. With the information that Zhang Zongjun chatted with him before, Qin Tian was not surprised by this, but looked at Yu Dai and asked, Old Yu, how much hotter do you feel than usual? Yu Dai thought for a while, and said roughly, speaking less, it's more than 10 degrees higher than yesterday. Qin Tian listened. That didn't run away. The temperature outside was about 25 to 6 degrees yesterday. Not too cold or too hot. Then it rose by more than 10 degrees that night, which must be an extremely hot climate. Thinking of this, he immediately said, that's about the same. It will definitely be hotter in 2 days. Everyone should take protective measures then. Hear Qin Tian's words. Several people nodded without worrying too much. Now the facilities on the battleship are so complete. There is air conditioning, refrigerator, water and electricity. Except for the hot spots on the way to the control room, the others are not affected. Oh, by the way, old man, I'll get some empty bottles later. You fill the bottles with water and throw them directly into the freezer or freezer. The weather is really hot. You go to the deck or when you go to the control room, you can also hold them and put them directly on your forehead, which can be regarded as physical relief. Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, Captain. Both of them nodded in agreement. Eat and drink enough. Qin Tian followed Yao Lang and they went up to the deck. Tian followed Yao Lang and they went up to the deck. Tian followed Yao Lang